Andrew Lopez, hello. Um, Good afternoon, everybody. We're back. It's me, Comic Crack, and I'm here with Rasa for our Sunday chat.
Hello.
Hello, Rasa. How you doing?
All right, how are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Now that I'm back in the full Winnipeg swing of things, it's back on the motherland, back in the motherland.
you feel like you settled after the journey.
I feel relieved. I'm not having
You
nightmares
feel
about
like you
gunshots and
you went to the sea, you came
yeah,
back. Now you on dry land.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
I bet it's kind of weird after not doing for this. I mean, going somewhere you haven't been for a very long time. It should be
Yeah.
kind of the experience in a way. But yeah, it's good that you did it. I mean, bloody hell! I mean, Marika, it's just like close by. In honesty,
Close, man. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm totally glad I did it. And, like I said, I
yeah.
think when I was talking last week, like, no, not throwing any shade on our American friends, but it's not that the States isn't somewhere that I like strive to want to go and visit, you know what I mean? So, but it was super fun. It was a really good time,
Yeah.
a really good
But you went
drive
to, you
and great
saw finally,
people.
you said you finally saw somebody from YouTube as well. Do you remember?
That's right. Yeah,
Which is something, it's an experience in itself. Like when you see each other, like we have never met in
that's
person,
right.
only via screen. So you have a
Yeah,
protection.
yeah,
This
that's right.
lovely
Yeah,
screen is like a protection.
yeah, that's right.
But when you go face to face, you're like, oh shit, what am I gonna say?
Yeah, and it was awesome. Like that was the thing that was incredible,
Yeah,
meeting Ryan in person, meeting
yeah,
Colin in person, like that stuff was awesome. It was great because I mean, I haven't had experiences like a lot of you all have had of
uh,
meeting a bunch of people. I mean, you met a few people already and even
mm,
Damien from the States came to see you,
mm,
so it's cool. It was great to kind of see
yeah.
people. Hello, Jackio, welcome.
Yo, yeah, it's exactly. It's an. I remember. I clearly remember the feeling when I went to see Damien. I wasn't sure what to expect whatsoever,
Yeah,
especially because it's yes, in London. I wasn't living in London, so I had to all travel to London in the same time to come in to meet him. Wasn't far away, but like just that's kind of like you especially doing something like that, and you're like, what? But honestly, it's like only that awkward first kind of hello, and then
yeah,
suddenly something just appears and you're just having a chat like you normally do via YouTube. So it's
yeah,
a really
totally.
interesting experience for sure.
I think the first thing that Colin and I said to each other was, "Holy shit." Holy shit, in person. Holy hell. Yeah. And then it was fine, then we chatted and drove around and I tried to make sure
Yeah,
I didn't get us lost and get us in accidents as we were chatting. Hello,
lovely.
AFPC. How are you?
Eh. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's I highly recommend to anybody who isn't, or you have somebody local who you know from YouTube, meet up. It will be
Yeah.
quite interesting. It'll make
Yeah.
make more the person next to you a bit more make sense.
Yeah, totally.
Because you have a different, like you just see, like you see only half of this, whatever, you know.
That's true.
You never know what's underneath there hiding.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, 100%. Donald Rex, hello. You're absolutely right. Cause I mean, like,
The height, is not, you can't see the height.
that's
I
right.
remember
Well,
like,
and also I know just speaking personally from myself, like
yeah,
I'm myself even on screen for sure I am. But I mean,
yeah,
I do monitor myself when I'm doing videos and things like,
yeah,
you have bigger conversations when you see people face to face. So,
yeah,
there's things that we talked about that I wouldn't talk about on this channel because it's just nothing I want to talk about.
yeah,
So it's
exactly.
those kind of conversations that kind
Yeah.
of you get a little bit more insight when you meet people face to face, obviously.
Mm,
But yeah, especially if you're kind of presenting in a way, right, for videos, that's a big part of it for sure.
mm,
But
exactly.
again, I'm pretty much the same idiot in person that I am online, so it's there's not too much different.
Yeah, well, I,
Hello,
currently,
Chaos and Comic, currently wearing a black bar over my nipples. Can you see through it though? That's the key. We'll talk about that when I get to that book.
yeah. Is there a book about wearing a black bar over your nipples?
Yeah, I'll talk about it later on, but
Is
it's
there?
this one, this wake that I
Oh,
got when I was down there in the States, NBM. Yeah,
Mm.
I'll save. I'll talk about it when we get there. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course. Okay, cool. Well, I was thinking that's kind of weird comment right from the start.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah, because I made a post about it on Twitter because it's just fucking goddamn prudes in comics and publishing stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just ridiculous to me. It's so silly, but whatever. It's their choice. It's their, company. I just think it's fucking stupid, but I bought it anyway. I didn't realize that actually when I bought it. I thought it was weird. I think I thought it was just going to be on the cover, but then flipping into the book, seeing it
Oof.
kind of carry on,
Oh, wow.
is kind of silly. But yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
not a
Well,
bad book though. Yeah.
oh, okay. That is good sign. So since you went to America and you were, I told you about I had this like luck. This is so weird. So I don't have comic book shops around me. I do
Yep.
have your car boot sales, but there's not something what I see in America. Those flea markets, your Americans
Yep.
across the pond have, or in Canada. I don't know. Canada's probably similar, isn't it? You guys, you have people who sells comic books. So, and
We do, but we don't have any car boot sales at all. We don't have anything like that here.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay.
No.
Interesting. Well, anyway, so we do have the car boot sales. And I insisted on going because I need a strimmer. And I'm cheapskate. Because I'm renting, I have garden to take care of. And I definitely don't want to spend hundreds of pounds for doing that. So we go. And to my bloody surprise, it was horrible day, as always, English weather.
Yeah.
So English weather, you go out sunny. The minute you approach the area you need to go to, start pouring down like a maniac. He was like, "Are you sure we want to go there?"
Yeah.
And while we were there, it still was like kind of like drizzling, but it wasn't great, So people were starting to leave. Yeah. Kind of.
Yes.
You never know what you want to find in those cars.
Yeah. Right.
There's some suspects always.
Remains.
So,
Yeah, that's what you find. Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, so we go, and it was like my husband's like, okay, we have to, like it's uncomfortable. People start leaving. I was like, no, I'm persevering. I haven't been for one for a long time. I paid £1 to enter. Go on, and my pound has to pay me something for it.
Yeah, right.
So when I get my strimmer for £5, it's a score. Okay, it's a really good score. It's of course old stuff, but anyway, I was really happy already. So we're going back because I have to do the second round because I never know if I've seen something. And this dude suddenly in his boot of a car starts clunking the comic box. I was like, no way! There's no way! This is the first time. And I looked, like really curiously, and he's like, it's like, is this the things you're gonna sell? He's like, yes. Do you want to look? I was like, yes, of course I do. So I started going rummaging like crazy, and I found a couple of things. Nothing mind blowing, but for the price I paid, it's great. So I got it's about 40 pence per comic I got.
Oh, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so it's really nothing. I honestly, you know what I hated the most? He didn't have prices on it.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I think
that's always a little scary because you never know, it could go
because
either
you can
way.
pick stuff up, but you don't know if you're gonna kind of like, wait, what am I doing? I'm looking for okay. So you never know how much she's gonna ask for it. So you're doubting your choices, So I'm gonna pick a stack and you're gonna tell me like £100, and I'm gonna say no, thank you, and I'm gonna run away. So it's kind of wasting my time. But to my surprise, he wasn't a absolute asshole. So I was really lucky. So I got obscure titles like Demon Hunter.
Oh yeah,
Atlas.
Sweet.
Number 1. And who is it? I think it's a Ditko who did it. No, not this one, but Richard Buckler on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the era, like kind of times I was looking at. I was like, geez, okay, because I don't see these obscure titles, honestly.
Yeah.
I've never seen them in the comic shops. No, I have ever seen, especially titled Atlas ones. Like I don't know who is in even production, but then I got 3 issues of Planet of Vampires.
Yeah, nice.
Looks like Conan.
Yeah, those are fun, man.
Oh. because like why not? Because I'm so deprived from comic hunting. This is kind of things is like already score. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't have to. Then I have found Destructor.
The Destructor, yeah.
So
Isn't that the Ditko one?
I think it's this. Is
Mhm.
it? Yeah, Steve Ditko, the proof.
Yeah.
And Archie Goodwin is the writers, and Hollywood Inca on this one.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So that's like really nice. I don't see that at all. I didn't never seen it even in the comic mart when I was going to.
Yeah.
And then I think I got in issue 3 and 4 of that. So yeah, I was like so surprised, and also to my surprise, he didn't have any gap on this run, which I always wanted to finish reading. So Brian Bolland, throughout this whole series, done 12 issues for DC called Camelot 3000. And I had the first 6 issues, but I never had the whole run. And he had all of them. So I just took all of it because I didn't want it to just leave the gap, kind of thing. I'll take just, whatever I needed. So, and this is all the beauty of Brian Bolland's art. And honestly, it looks amazing. I haven't read it yet, unfortunately. Honestly, Holy Stack, I haven't even yet had time to absorb because, timing is not always summertime is really difficult to read for me. So yeah, very good. Really, really good nick as well. Don't forget. And it was in the boxes, which the bags were like really like tattered ones. Those sticky ones.
Yeah, those are disgusting.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to change them straight away, please. So I just did it straight away after I got it. So yeah,
that's great when you can find stuff like this and you find the whole run too. Yeah. Like that really is a bonus.
So
very cool.
The writer is W. Barr, was it? Constanza. No, it doesn't say in here. I don't know the writer, but I came here for this. The Bolland's art, and then I absolutely love Bolland. I think it's quite an artist, and he's not cheap. He's never been cheap. This never been a cheap run to get until you get lucky like this, I guess, and find it all. Because there's like mention of something visits and it goes crazy, or mention the Bollard in news somewhere, art low ice, and this goes crazy. So, and then I got some. Is it and next? Oh yeah, I'll show you another thing of DC I got hold of. And then I'll show you afterwards. I'll show you everything, whatever I found from Marvel. Yeah, the bar. Yeah, exactly that one. So did you know that they were printing a Frazetta early work?
Yeah, I think I've got one of those, but I've never seen any other ones though.
So it's only 3 of them.
But
then, so number 1 is Frazetta, number 2 is Frazetta, and then Bernie writes, and this is the 3rd. And that's it. Amazing. They have even CLZ app doesn't have any other ones, and I didn't know because I only saw because he had this bag with 3 of them in one, and I didn't know what was the 3rd. But I was like, oh wow, Bernie! I love Frazetta. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Frazetta, and I like his work on his paintings. But this is one of these comic arts, like he did the early stuff, and this is reprint or masterworks, as they call them. So it's kind of interesting, different seeing Frazetta on the comic things field. But Bernie is Bernie, the mold in evil. It's absolutely fantastic, and I was really excited about that. Like the minute I saw Bernie's work, I was like, yes, I need to have that. Like this. Come on, man, so beautiful. Always really wacky stuff, but it's the best thing ever. So that was a surprise. So I knew about this run, but I wasn't kind of like aware of everything inside. And then the last DC book I saw it, which I had to pick as random.
Oh yes, good score.
Yeah. So it's issue 18 of that, and it's already great on the first page. And who's it working? It doesn't tell me who is working on this comic. Why they don't show it to you? Just like really good pages, but this doesn't say. No, it doesn't say.
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. Sorry, I'm looking now through it, and I don't like doing. Yeah, but look at this. Dead man.
Yeah.
And Phantom Stranger is more because of you, I guess. I like to find. I'm getting to know Phantom Stranger. I'm not well aware of it, but the what I've read, it's the best.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean it falls nicely into that whole world, right? So
Exactly.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
hello, Tats Comics. Hello.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the only one of his he had, and then he had Marvel. He had plenty of Scent editions, which I don't pick because I started it with Scent editions. I never wanted to go to Pence ones. But something also which I don't usually find, the obscure titles of Marvel, like the Skull Slayer.
That's great.
Issue
Look at that
1, issue 2, and issue 3 as well. And I think it's only 3 issues run, I think. As far as the CLZ, I think was telling me. And this one, fearful first issue. Steve Gunn. I don't know who Steve Gunn is. But it's Marv Wolfman, creator of this. And I think Damien, the sleepy reader, definitely has shown this, and I always wanted to look for it. I always had them on my list, but I never found them. So it's kind of different, because it's not as popular. Whatever isn't as popular, you can't see them as often. And they already I mean, this isn't quite. There's no bag, but it's in really decent shape, to be honest, for where it was bagged and boarded. So yeah, so first of these 3 issues, then the 2 issues of this Doc Savage. Yes, the Man of Bronze.
Yeah.
Number 2. This one isn't great. You can see water damage, but I don't really, I don't really get it. Yeah, exactly. 40p. That's like
40p.
Yeah.
40. Yeah.
And that's Stan Lee presents Roy Thomas and Steve Engelhardt with Ross Andrew and Jim Mooney in the art inside. Great, really good. Honestly, I think art-wise, it's fantastic. This kind of era comics as well, I think. So really cool. And as I say, I'm always very astounded by the things, if I can even find them. I took this just because they were there. Constant Champions, 3 issues. I had them, but I just took it. I got excited, the excitement took over, and my brain started to scramble. I was like, "It doesn't matter. I'm going to take it."
Surprised you didn't make them an offer on the whole box.
No, I'm surprised because there was there was not everything I wanted to take, basically. You know what I mean? Because if I knew how he's gonna price the books, I would probably pick that up. But I also had a sort of budget for the car boot sale. I was never intending to buy comics since this went, and this is just a random Scarecrow Spectacular issue number 26, a spotlight for it. And this one is Ruben Yandok and Scott Edelman creators. Not bad work inside at all. Definitely that great Marvel things of the era. If you are at all a fan of that, I think these scenes like that is my favorite stuff to look at. And it's kind of weird, Marvel Scarecrow, because more of DC's fan. Also a random comic of Machine Man, but I always like Kirby, and if I see Kirby, I take it. No matter if I have an issue, doesn't matter. I still take Kirby. I love Kirby, no matter in which way or what he drew. And Machine Man is this obscure character. I'm still trying to kind of pull the whole run together, but I absolutely love this look of Kirby's art. The way he's created the guns, the shooting, those menacing faces, square-faced evils or good guys. It's beautiful for me. So because it's Jack Kirby, I took it, of course. And also, and the best, I guess, of them all was this one, King Size Annual #1 by Defenders. I guess He even tried to tell
That's
me
a
that this is
sweet
that it is
score.
more pricier book, which is it honestly from the whole other lot I got, it is, but not
Yep.
as crazy. You know, it's not something, but it's a good thing to have. It's only king size Defenders there is. So it's only
Mhm.
one, and the story so far I was reading just glimpse of it. Great, you know, like your typical Defenders. They're sitting down. There's these things happening. All gone completely crazy.
Yeah.
And this, I think, it's almost one of the last Defenders. Like it says in the final battle, I think this is one of the last times they're going to be who they are together. And honestly,
Right.
I've always thought in the cover that this lady here was Spider-Woman, but this is not Spider-Woman. This is
Mhm.
Red. What's her name? Red Guardian. But from this kind of like like, you know, really a short like small like drawing,
Mhm.
it looks like Spider-Woman. Or at least I thought it so, but I kind of missed the star in there. But she's
Yeah.
Russian and she's a Red Guardian anyway. So yeah, beautiful. So that was my thingy I got, and that
Pretty
all
awesome.
kick-started. One more thing, which I cannot believe it I received. So my gym membership is being paid by lovely
Oh,
Damien.
that's right. Oh,
Damien
dude.
decided that I probably need a bit more exercise when I before showed you guys. So this is, I got it through the door.
Fucking
I got
hell, man.
so I was so scared because of what somebody hacked me.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
yeah, and then I saw this little note saying that it's from him. I was like, oh my god! So
Wow.
yeah, this is exactly as a first volume of Omnibus Marvel came out with, but in
Okay.
ginormous edition.
I see. So
Uh,
that's all contained in it's the same book,
yeah, it's the
basically, just
same issues
gigantic.
inside. And remember, I showed you
Fucking
that
hell.
Fantastic Four one with a Galactus, and it was priced $50. Yes, this one is priced $100. So they
Jeez.
maybe, like you say, we were talking about, maybe they made a mistake. It probably have, because it's the same size and it's twice more expensive when it
Yeah.
came out. And I don't know, I don't know how they even got hold of this, but I was like looking for it when we were talking. I looked
Mhm.
for like an hour. Okay, maybe I should have looked maybe close, but I could never seen, because apparently this is out of print and nobody
Right.
wants to sell it. But this is
That's a
Ditko.
goddamn beauty. Like, that's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and this, oh my god, I'm gonna try my best, but this is really an exercise and a half, just to show you a page.
Yeah, that's a table book for sure. Hey, you gotta
Yeah.
clear the
Okay.
dining room table.
Okay, let me try. My goodness, and this is not working out. This is what you get.
Wow.
No.
Dude, just to see his stuff that big, that's incredible.
Oh no, it's a marvel. It's you just marvel, you know, like you can't stop. Then like I can't really. I really need, like, somebody needs to be very strong just to pull up
Yeah.
for me doing this, but. Absolutely astounded, and I don't know, I lost for words to this day to say thank you, Damien, but you know, he's crazy, but thank you, you know, like this is like
Yeah.
one thing I always wanted, because I know, well, since I like this big format for sure, I know why people wants to get hold of him and how popular they are, because of how easy and how lovely to look in each lines they have. The people like these creates, and in this kind of format is beautiful. And this is the back page.
Mhm.
So it shows you what you get, how many issues, but it's exactly the same as the volume one of Omnibus of Doctor Strange, but in humongous format.
Man, oh
So this is
man.
basically what it's like, a good charm luck, you know, like I got this, and then I went to the car boot sale and got comic books. It's like, this is yeah, it seems a bit unwieldy, but if you sit down and you have the table in front of you, it's
Yep.
absolutely fantastic. You do, yeah.
Yeah.
And as I say, this is like it's a joke, but honestly, just lift those couple of times,
Beautiful.
it's just like your hands are going like, ugh. But it's
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic. There's more, like I think showed me a picture of his, how many editions of these kind of size books there is. It's more
Yeah.
than, there's quite a few of them, and I'm surprised.
Hell
Like
of
I
a
picked
lot.
up one, and why? How come it's breezed past me? Because honestly, I like displaying them if you have space, especially. So you can
Yep.
display it properly, and it's love. I mean, honestly, to sit down and just put the page, like just relax and just scroll the page is amazing. It's a really
Hmm.
good thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
even with it just being a reproduction of the issues, I think it's incredible to see it that big for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine seeing a artist edition of some Ditko would be a beautiful thing as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
Dude,
in this is like the best
4.5.
thing. Well, I mean, I'm still shocked, and I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
speak about it. But every single time I'm looking, it's like, oh my god, it's right here. Because I was surprised.
Later,
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. Okay, bye. I was surprised how that it was exactly the same issues as the Omnibus 1-in-1. But yeah, it's really good. So the omnibus, I don't have to have it anymore. It's too small now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Laughing at people with the omnibus.
Yeah, I can magnifying glass now with that omnibus.
Yeah, right. That's hilarious. So since we're doing a little bit of a
Holy
haul show off here, I'll just show you a couple issues that I found this afternoon.
Mm,
I won't show you all of them. I'll just show you a couple that kind of
go
stood
on.
out to me.
Yeah.
Went to the flea market. There's a guy there who got
Yeah.
about, I don't know,
Wow.
80 long boxes recently. He bought a
Yes.
collection. He's a record sale guy. He always sells records. So his comics aren't his thing. So he kind of wants to get rid of them. Next weekend is the real blowout sale. So I kind of had a quick flip and found a few things, but
hmm
next weekend we'll see. Maybe I go back and see like when he's ready to get rid of everything. But a couple of things I picked up that I've never seen before. This one looked pretty fun from AC Comics. This Red Devil reprint. The beautiful thing about this one is that it's printed in landscape,
Oh.
and yeah, they print on red ink, so you get the story landscape in these gigantic panels. It's super cool. I've seen images from this before. This
Uh-huh.
one being kind of the iconic one in my mind,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So super cool to see this in person.
Yeah.
This Red Devil, Clutches of the Claw, Part 1. But I love this presentation. I think this is pretty great. Kind of, again, that idea of seeing some of these panels even just a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super, super cool find. So very excited about that one. I kind of flipped through it. Let's get the credits here. Yes, that's right. AFPC, Bill Black, art by Dick Ayers, inks by Mark Heike, Heike. There's the credits there. If it'll focus. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Yeah. Mark.
So beautiful, beautiful looking stuff. And then AFPC will probably know this one. This one I was super excited about. I never thought I'd see it in person. This is a Power Comics channel. This is a Power Comics staple. I first saw it on their channel. Delta Squadron, issue number 1 of 2. I think there was 2 issues of this. This is from, I think it's Montreal is where this one's from, Montreal, Canada. But man, am I excited about this one ever since seeing it in one of their videos. It's been on my list forever and a day. So that was a really, really sweet score. And the rest of the boxes that I saw anyway, they had a lot of, just basically like run fillers, Marvel and DC. Nothing that was super exciting to me, but nothing too, no Chuck Norris in this one. But this was exciting to find this. Yeah, you have both of them. I bet you do. Probably from the Koch warehouse, I imagine there, AFPC. So super thrilled to find that. And then there was also this here from Kevin McConnell, David Day, and Dan Day, Shadows from the Grave. I think it was just a 2-issue run from Renegade. But they did a lot of like Day Brothers stuff. They had a bunch of stuff. I've never seen this in person either. And this looks really fantastic. Nice black and white stuff in here too. So yeah, I mean, the bonus of kind of digging through boxes of collections that people kind of don't want. Here we go. This is a great image here.
Oh wow,
That's
look at
a good page. Yeah, like real rough. Oh, they did. Hey, they interviewed for this Delta Squadron,
Mhm.
interviewed the creator on their channel a couple years ago. Oh wow, I'll have to dig back into that. I think I missed that one.
Wow.
Yeah. So and a few other things, but those are kind of like yeah, Koch is your pusher. Those are kind of like the highlights for sure. I mean, when eventually I come to New York AFPC, that's like I gotta go there. I've just gotta see the
Just
Koch warehouse. I've got to
just
be
make sure
there.
you make an appointment, isn't it? Isn't it appointment based as well?
I
Meeting
think
you.
that's what he was saying, but I think they also have it open sometimes too. But yeah, it might be
Oh,
one of
okay.
those things. But honestly, that would be like a full day. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, today I'm doing Koch warehouse because it's huge from the videos I've seen online. It's
Yeah.
fucking enormous, but it
Oh,
looks just exceptional.
I wonder how how you keep your head straight, because the
Yeah,
amount of things around you, and you get excited by anything around you. So how do you get your head straight? Because honestly, by just looking this, the dude with those two comic boxes I found, it's just my head went absolutely. I was just concentrating, and sort of. I knew what it was, but what I wanted, kind of thing. But it's just like my head like went to overdrive excitement. You know, like
yeah,
that's the high of comic looking for.
yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. I will be 100% AFPC. I'll absolutely be getting in touch if
Mm,
we make it down there. I mean, my wife and I have been talking about it. You know,
mm,
obviously not anytime this year, but yeah,
yeah.
we'd like to come. I've never been to New York, period. So I would love to see the city itself. But
Mm,
yeah, I'm sure there's a system. Yeah,
mm.
but yeah, dream about that place. Must be so great. Anyway,
And knowing that you
so
have
what
it,
have you
yeah.
been? Oh, sorry, what's that?
No, nothing. Just comment on the back. Oh, I'll show you what I haven't read yet, but you know this one already. But I found it in the library.
Oh, beautiful. Good
So
work.
it's quite an Peter's work. Yes, Obscure Cities.
Yeah.
So this is what the most recent one, isn't it? Or am I going mad?
The most recent one they put out was
This
Urbicon.
is
Fever and Urbicon was the most recent one they released. But that's
this
one of
is
the newer ones for sure. Yeah. I think
um,
Fever and Urbicon came out after that one, but I don't
this
remember
is
off the top of my head.
first printing November 2022.
2022, yeah.
Yeah,
So
this
maybe
one.
it did come out right after Urbicon. Let's see here.
Uh, because I remember
October
you showing.
2022. October 2022 for this one as well too. So
Yeah. So I remember you showing. So this is just
yep.
a new, like I go to library. It seems like whatever I haven't seen, and I saw you. I remember you showing me clearly this one. So I haven't yet gone through reading it. We didn't have enough time to go
Hmm.
for it, because this kind of books needs my sometimes you read and you kind of can go through and understand the story, but this one is kind of like you have to pay attention. If you don't, it can
Yeah.
pass by you, because I remember I read Peterson's and Squirton previous book about the guy with the beard. I don't remember the story name. Anyway, and
Yeah.
that one I had to read kind of like kind of slower pace,
Was it
because
this
not
one,
that
The
he's what.
Tower?
Yes, I think so. I don't know. Anyway, no, it was another one. It was red cover as
Okay.
well, like red walls, and it was like a castle or something. I don't. Yes, Shadow of a Man. Exactly this
There
one.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was reading
They're
that
always
one, and
in
I
within
remember.
reaching distance.
Yeah. So yeah, I was reading that one, and I was like, I enjoyed it, because I remember I started reading the first copy, and it was rushing through. It's like, no, find the right time, because that's what you do when you read comic books. Kind of really need good timing for your headspace. Sometimes it's just, if I don't like the story, it already passes by me so quickly. So it
Mhm.
was like, sometimes you just need to pay more attention. So I'm just looking to see what I want to show you.
This week I should be getting. So I've had these two. Speaking of
Oh,
Scoiton, I've had these Hollow Grounds hardcovers from
yeah,
Humanoids forever, and I
yeah,
haven't been able to find the third volume. I
yeah.
did some time on a board for Film Train in Manitoba. I was the
Uh-huh.
co-chair and then the vice chair. So I've recently left the board, and they sent me a gift card, and I managed to find myself a copy of the third book online. So it's
Yeah.
coming pretty soon. I'm super excited. So much so that I've been watching like Scoiton videos on YouTube. I
Oh.
think I posted a couple. I think I sent you one too of him like doing his
Uh-huh.
art. like a 15-minute video, and it's beautiful. I can't wait to dig into that one when it comes. No Gigon, I think it's called, the third book in that. It's the early work of Scoiton, that series of 3 hardcovers.
I've been so I'll tell you a couple of I've been reading the Superman, but only read.
Yep.
I didn't finish the whole. There's a series called, which I saw it. It's by Kurt Busiek, and we're talking about. Oh, come on! Is this the one? Okay. So, Superman: The Secret Identity.
Oh yeah.
Stuart Immonen and Kurt Busiek. And to be honest, I've never kind of like like the famous Superman story we all read. So I read that one and I really enjoyed it. But I heard good things about this one, and I read this first chapter 1 of Smallville, where a kid whose parents kind of make fun. They live in Smallville. They live in that area where Superman came from. And the way it starts is like he's kind of reading the comic book about Superman and stuff, and it's his birthday, and for a laugh the parents gave him a Clark Kent name because they're Kents, so they could have a boy born, and they decided to kind of think this would be so hilarious, so we call him Clark Kent. And to his own dissatisfaction, his life in schools and his in general life has been kind of torture, because everybody's kind of like daring him. Wow, so why don't you have the powers like a Superman does? Because you're sharing the same name, you're in the same neighborhood. And he's basically describing how each birthday he gets a family, gives him all this stuff with Superman logos, whatever related to Superman generally. And he says, like, I don't like it. I don't understand how people, how his own family doesn't understand them properly, kind of thing. And then is basically showing his school life and how he wished, because he's been bullied because of his name, he's also kind of a closed down boy, kind of in the way, and he has his own ways of dealing situations, and the only kind of reprieve he has is by hiking somewhere where nobody can see him and he could just breathe and enjoy himself. And he always kind of had this wish, like, what if I had those powers? What would I have done to those powers? And then while he's hiking, he's waking up and he has this nightmare dream. Without realizing, he jumps into the air and just starts flying. So he gets the powers. And the way the story has progressed furthermore, he's like, oh my God, this is like, am I dreaming? Am I doing this? And he's starting to fly and enjoy himself. Like, doesn't understand how this is happening. He starts to kind of trying to figure out, is he adopted? How this can happen? I thought I'm a normal boy. You have normal parents, even though they live in Texas and all stuff. He doesn't think he's an alien. And then he starts using those powers at school, not so he can be visible, because he's uncertain what to do with himself. He doesn't know how to expose himself. Does he want to expose himself to the public, saying that he has powers? He's just like a superboy, like he starts traveling. He goes to mountains in Canada, or he travels, like he can fly now. So yeah, really good first issue for sure. Because what happens is he starts, eventually gets to come across a disaster where he kind of starts helping and people start noticing him. But because he's so fast, they don't really know, and the people in this little town starts to speculate, saying, do we really have a Superman living around us? And they call it, like, the hopeful Clarion newspaper, saying flying boy. Who is he? And everybody started to pretend that they know them, that they speak to him, and he's having a laugh. We're reading this newspaper and saying, like, nobody knows who I am, but it's nice to kind of he starts to feel like he's kind of like, oh, look, because his schoolmates said that he can kind of like, oh, if I would have those powers, I would be being like a basketball superstar. I will hide myself and I have his powers and I will be like earning money. Other one saying I would reveal myself straight away because I need all the money, I buy a house. And he starts to think this way as well, until the reporter starts kind of like, looking for them. Like at the end of the day, somebody's coming into their town and they get exposed, and they wanted to kind of find out who that person is and start to look through. And there's this secret society members, or like government starts to look for evidence, and kind of really good in the way he's dealing with the situation, and he's disguising himself by shadows in the right moments. But not everything goes accordingly to what he wanted. And the first issue is really kind of really good, though. First chapter is really good because it's kind of like you can put it like a one-off story, but it continues afterwards. But so far what I read felt really good. Kurt Busiek writes really well, so I really thoroughly enjoyed this. Stuart Immonen's art, he become very much like way too photorealistic to me, even though it doesn't look like it really is photorealistic, but his facials not as strong, but it feels like he's not to his own. I mean, I'm not dissing the artist, don't get me wrong, but it feels like it's being copied from somewhere. It's just the way it feels when it's printed or it's in digital format. But it just sometimes feels a little bit too realistic sometimes, like exposure to his face, for example, here kind of feels like somebody's
right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of too perfect. But it's just me, like thinking out loud. Sometimes it isn't perfect either, but it's just like feels like he used to be. It changed dramatically, his art style. Anyway, so yeah, it's really good. For the first chapter, definitely nice. I'm not sure. I started reading this chapter too, but as I say, I got distracted by some other things. I'm reading this kind of digital format stuff all the time at nighttime. So like I get distracted by my own sleep, and then I don't remember I don't go back to it afterwards if I do. And then Secret Shared is the next chapter of this. There's 4 issues basically. Come out in 4 issues. It's in deluxe format or in paperback, and it's quite popular apparently. Lots of people liking it, especially just getting to know Superman in different light. So
yeah, I've never seen it, never heard of it. There's
really
lots
good.
of blue on those pages too.
Yeah, it's a Superman, red, yellow,
exactly.
and blue.
Like, yeah, red, white, and blue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's gonna see that. But as I want to see, now will it be interesting to see where this story will go? Is it actually Clark Kent they want to talk about, or is it just another Clark Kent kind of, or different reality? But of course they know that there's Superman. He even knows there's Superman, because they keep on shoving that in his face. They know his existence, but now that he gained his powers as Superman, he's becoming like a Superboy, like the Superboy thing. But the way Kurt Busiek writes is really easy to get the feeling of the character, like the boy. He's so anxious all the time because he's always been like, I never got the girl I wanted, like that kind of teenage kind of angst and stuff. Then you don't, you have the sharing the name of some superstar who you don't want to being or being compared to somebody like that. And in that sense, it's really easy. The Kurt Busiek's writing is something I always kind of loved, and especially Astro City is the same. He makes the superheroes more kind of relatable to you, you know what I mean? Makes it not that kind of, imaginative character is kind of your daily person can become something like that. Kind of, like makes it a bit more believable maybe, but the way he's writing is just easier.
And also looks for like the imperfections in those kind of characters too, doesn't he? Isn't that kind of a staple? I haven't read a ton of his stuff to know very much.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's the way his idea of superheroes has always been kind of good, and as long as he's been allowed to, how far to get to that kind of part. Like at the end of the day, DC will never let you kind of like have that kind of Batman or Superman who completely off-way their origin. You know what I mean? Because there's a staple character which we have it for years. Yeah. But it's nice to see this kind of things like done, and people, like I say, talk about it. And I was actually watching Mind the Comics. I saw somebody on YouTube was talking about it, and they mentioned this, and I was like, okay, let me just have a look, because I like Kurt Busiek, and I always want to read somebody who is, especially the writer I know, about the character I'm curious about. It's very easy this way for me. It's easier to approach this way, because I read something before Kurt Busiek, and I always liked his writing. I'm always very curious about Superman, but whatever I've read from Superman olden days or whatever times, he's just too perfect. Do you know what I mean? Superman has always
Yeah.
had that boss written so high up
Right.
that people are afraid now to play around with the character, and it sometimes becomes
It's
boring.
hard to. It's hard to
Yes,
play with
actually,
a
it's hard
character
to
like
as
that,
well.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because expectations are from everybody, because the invulnerable, like has so much power. He's only one weakness he has is kryptonite. Blah blah blah. He's just like,
And
how
Wonder
far can
Woman.
you take the kryptonite to a level? Or you
Yeah.
have his own people coming in as the evil guys. We know all our stories. We watch the movies of those. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see where this gonna take. But it was really cool so far. So I'm glad
Yep.
I had the chance to do that. So
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a character that I'm drawn to either, but when you do have a couple of those stories that
Yeah.
do kind of hit right, it really works. He's definitely a feel good kind of character. I've always felt.
And to my surprise, also, I found a Diamond Cook cover and Superman as well.
Hey,
I want to get to
shit!
all.
Look at that. That's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, so I haven't read the Superman Wonder Woman
Wow.
New 52 run, and I remember
Yep.
that was coming out, but the price tag. Actually, the price tag $3.99 comparing to these days prices is actually not so bad for variant cover.
Yeah,
But it's Darwin
that's
Cook.
amazing.
And I like Darwin Cook, so I want to get now. If I can find anything of his in the variant cover field, even though I'm not the person doing variant covers, but he's not here anymore with us, so it's well
Yeah.
worth hunting, for it. It's very, very romantic. Okay, and that's one thing about Darwin Cook. They're always smiling. They're so happy.
Yeah.
Not miserable. That's one thing I miss about his
New
his
Frontier,
superhero.
that scene in New Frontier where he goes and
Yeah.
she's liberated this
Yeah.
camp. It's such a fucking incredible scene when she steps off that table and is like looking down at him like, clear the fuck out, spaceman, or we're gonna kick you. Like, it's such a good fucking scene.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah. Darwin Cook, R.I.P. That guy was amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible artist, man.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
AFPC saying only music I think I've read was that Batman book with John Paul Leon. What the heck was that one?
Yeah, because John Paul Leon he has a very good art style, and if Busiek was working with him, now I want to know what the title of the name is.
Yeah,
because I want to read it now. Because
totally. Yeah,
Busiek always was like, if he has done some superheroes, and if I get hold of it somehow, I always want to I always give a chance. As I say, I think Busiek has really good writing styles and the way he's understanding the creations and stuff. Creature of the Night.
Creature of the Night.
Where's
doesn't
my pen?
sound familiar. Yeah.
A creature. Well, that's gonna
Creature
be
of the Night.
Yeah.
Creature of the Night.
Busiek. Cool. Very good. Thank you.
So I'll start with this one.
Okay. Superhero again?
No.
Yeah, I saw your cover. I saw that cover. Now I can see. Okay, go on. I'm curious because you like your covers now.
Man, this one. So what I didn't realize when I picked this book up and I was reading it, the art, I love the art in it. It's Jana Cha, who also did the art in this one, Black Stars Above, from what is this, Vault? Yeah, from Vault Comics. I loved this book. And it's also Nadler. What the hell is his first name? I want to say Scott. No, Lonnie Nadler. This is a fantastic book. I talked about it quite a long time ago. And her art in here, it's color in this one. It's black and white in The Sickness. But this was a really great one. And what I was drawn to mostly was her art. And I've got a bunch of I think I'm only missing one of the single issues of the run itself. But her covers, this kind of sepia tone covers that she was doing for each of the issues was incredible too. But this one is this kind of cosmic horror type of tale on this book. Well worth, if you can find Black Stars Above cheap, don't hesitate on picking it up. So
okay, cool. I wrote it
when
down
I realized
already.
that it's her in this, that kind of elevated it even more. Chaos and Comics, if he's still here, thanks to him for turning me on to a podcast interview with Jenna Cha from, I think it was 2018. It was a number of years ago, but she was talking about coming out of an art school in Minneapolis, I think is what she said. And this was her first, she did a version of this coming right out of school. So I don't know the details as far as this particular issue, if it's just kind of representing her original one or not, or if it's been kind of completely redone. But this is going to be a 14-issue series. This is from Uncivilized Books. This is their second printing. I think I was talking about it when I showed off the comics I got. The first time I think they've gone into a second printing on a book. So it's really gaining some popularity. 14 issues is a real big, that's a lot. That's a lot to put out in front of you there. And hopefully the quality stays up, because this was a really, really great read, really interesting, unique kind of, it's basically a horror book. So this town, people are becoming overcome with this sickness, but it's not really spelled out what it is yet. It's just, it slowly makes you go insane. You start hallucinating, you start seeing things, and you kind of grasp on reality. So someone online had compared it to a zombie story. I didn't find that at all. It was more like people just going fucking nuts, like just going, turning into psychopaths. So one of the characters who we're following in this one, he's starting to kind of fight with these hallucinations that he's having. But the way it's handled early on in the story, I mean, the first scene is you're kind of coming out of his brain to show this guy. He's hanging out with his friends, and he's just looking around, and he's just seeing a couple of things that are odd. But early on in the story, when you're reading it, they stand out as maybe you're not really sure what he's seeing, like why he's seeing these tracers on people. It's really handled beautifully, because you don't know if that's just the style of the art and the style of the book. Like here you can see kind of the rain and everything kind of moving differently in the panels. So I thought that was really clever to give us that look. Again, this is the first issue, so this isn't a spoiler, because we still don't know what the hell is going on. There's still a lot, but you start to get a sense of it even more so when he wakes up in the morning and is woken up by his mom, and he refuses to look at her, and she comments on it. And then when he does look at her, this is what he sees. Her twisted kind of face. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I'm very excited about this book. I looked at her again. I found her online and checked out her website. And if you're going to ingratiate yourself to me even more so, she had this piece. It was sold, unfortunately, but let's see if it'll focus. There we go. It's my favorite Italian singer, Mina Mazzini. She had done some portraits of people that she was selling online, and I mean, that is gorgeous. So I'm waiting for her to hopefully open up looking for submissions for pieces, because I would love that piece. So if there was ever an artist that feels like it was made for me, it's this Jenna Cha. So I'm very excited about it, and thankfully, with the way that Uncivilized Books is working these days, a comic shop, it was able to put it on my pull list, because they were getting in one of their other comics called, I think it was called West, if that's the name, Wild or West. I think it was West. So they were getting that into the shop, and I've seen Ginseng Roots make an appearance in a couple of the shops. So it seems like their distribution is pretty great. So it's on my pull list because I want to keep up with it. They did some variant covers for the first issue, but this is the second. This is the second reprint, I guess, of issue number 1. So the second one comes out right away, I think. So very, very excited. So if anybody's interested, try to get it on your list, because it's still early days. It's just come out. I don't know how Uncivilized deals with kind of collections after the fact. I imagine this day and age, you kind of have to put something together, and it feels like because they're getting so much popularity and interest on this particular comic, feels like this is something that'll be collected eventually. But a very, very strong opening for that kind of unique. It's not horrific. It just has a little bit of uneasiness to it as far as like a horror story goes. Obviously, we'll see where it goes, but it's not. It hasn't been grotesque or anything yet. It's just been kind of unusual and some, you know, a little bit more mystery surrounding what the hell is going on in this town, or
Yeah.
how we don't even know how widespread it is, what exactly the illness is. So it feels like there's a lot of storytelling left to do. So
is it still by Walt or by Image?
no, this one is Uncivilized Books is the name of the
Oh, and
company.
Civilized Books.
Yeah,
Okay.
Uncivilized. Yeah.
Sorry, that's
Yeah,
why. Maybe I
so a
thought
bit of a
it's like a.
smaller company. You can
Yeah.
order from them directly online, but again, like especially for someone like you, for example, it's way difficult. But I don't know if I don't know if they're attached to previews. If Uncivilized is attached to previews, if it's something that
Maybe.
your comic guy can even get. I haven't
Yeah.
looked into it that far.
I'll change, your eBay. See if it's in UK price. Oh, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
£20 second printing.
Second printing, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a couple of variants. There was one variant by Shintaro Kago, I think is the last name. A Japanese manga artist. Really, really cool style, and his cover for the first issue is fantastic. It's really colorful and everybody with twisted faces and blood coming out of their eyes and this sort of thing. Like it looks pretty great.
Her black and white variant, 150, whatever that code is, 1 in 50, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever incentive variant is, goes $100 on eBay, or at least
Yeah.
asking price is $100 on eBay. Jeez, yeah,
Yeah, no surprise.
£20 is the cheapest one on UK price than on eBay.
Mhm.
So, ouch.
Yeah, like I said, check with your comic guy. Maybe it's something that's in previews that he can,
Yeah.
get a hand on if you want to check it out.
We'll see. Have a look. No, never know.
Yeah.
Cool. So you gave me the bug, and I know how I found it. Luckily, and she, like, honestly, price wise, very good. I can't complain. But I got the cover.
Hey.
So I got this one. I put it in the bag, but I don't know. I was thinking how to display. I want to kind of hang it from that price. It's actually even nicer in there. But I got first 3 covers.
Oh, sweet.
And of course,
did issue 3 come out already?
Yeah, this is issue 3.
Oh, I thought that's issue 2, isn't it? Yeah, that's 2.
This is issue 2. Sorry. This is issue 3.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah. So and I read in. I'm up to date now. Okay, I don't know. A lot of people are dissing the story in generally. I don't think they really enjoying it. But because I am such a fan of Deadman, like you are, I really like that he's using Batman's body, and Batman can't do nothing about it. And he's just voiced like he's using as because he needs to sort this whatever this event Night Terror is with this evil guy who wants to basically come into being and he's looking for this stone. And Damon got involved and they had this like small conversation in this one. But what I really like is how Batman is not present there. And another thing, what Batman does, he's reading your thoughts.
Yes.
So and he's saying what funny part is about Batman. No, you usually see what people's good moments are, but he can only sense whatever Batman's bad moments, and there's nothing good in it. So he can't even read the good parts of Batman because somehow he's still able to hide away from him with the power of that. And I mean, complete and utter abuse of his power. And he's like he's not really shy about it either, which I really and you're never gonna have would you ever gonna have a movie where Batman is in that kind of like distress, like where he's completely used by somebody like him? We're never gonna see this. Maybe only in comic book format. And in itself, DC is letting him like Batman take over Batman's body without even, he's unconscious most of the time. Like when because he left the body of Batman several times, and he's just plugged there, like kind of like unconscious, not doing anything. Because apparently it takes toll for your body to come back to your kind of your own control after he's been taken over, according to them in here. But that part is my favorite thing. I don't know if I like this. This is the part where the bad guy of his Night Terror is his fault. That's his origin story, how he became what he is, kind of in a way. But I honestly don't mind this. It's the first time you gave me a bug of just picking up a cover, because I really
Yeah,
like
right.
these covers. I
Yeah.
absolutely love, and I'm the one who's never got anything like that. But okay,
Yeah.
your fault. I went online. I went online and saw this the big chain comic store, which I don't usually go there because it's never, like never one. I never buy from them stuff, but I always look for this kind of stuff. Like my
Yeah.
guy would never have. If he says to me even plain and simply, you want variant, don't come to me. I have to charge higher premium price.
Yeah.
If you want a cheap one, go to this. Even he says go to the big sale, so you can see, and they're on sale. These covers, so I
Yeah.
haven't even paid £4 for it per
Oh,
cover.
wow. Yeah.
So that's why that's why I picked it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. And now I absolutely love them. And the only thing
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
like it as
is
well.
to full extent of this cover. I can't see because I don't have black light. So I need to get hold of black light because
Mhm.
I want properly. My whole idea was to hang somewhere there and put the black
Absolutely.
thing over, and it's spectacular. It really looks good, and I am a fan of that. So
Looks
it's
so
your
great.
fault.
Even just regular, I think they're just great covers, and I'm
I
not
sh-
surprised to hear that people shit on the story. I can see
yeah,
that, but I
yeah,
kind of dig it because I
yeah.
think we're not as immersed in this new world of the
Yes,
comics anyway, so I
yeah,
think we can kind of see it from a distance a bit.
yeah, exactly. And I showed my husband those, and he's like, you know what he said? Why are they dissing Sirit? Because
Yeah,
he
right.
thinks it's because the color choices, and all that
Yeah,
funkiness. So like that, what is this? I said, no, it's not the guy you're talking about, not Space Riders guy.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, so he so gets disappointed straight away. But he said, I love the colors. I can't stop looking at them, and
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Honestly,
yeah, it's beautiful.
it's a gimmick. We're getting bites
100%.
on gimmick for sure,
Yep,
but
yep,
I can't stop looking. I love it. I
no,
even want to display it it's the first time I want to kind of display shit like that. So
yeah,
it's something new. But honestly, as I say, I was lucked out. I found them. They some other like variant covers, they're quite pricey, and we had
yeah.
shitloads of them. But this ones I was looking for specific, and on eBay, of course, these ones are much higher priced because they're not
Mhm.
everywhere. You know what I mean? Not everybody's getting them. So, and the
Yeah, I had a
story,
look. I had a
yeah, and
look online to see that error
yeah,
variant that I have to
yeah,
see what it was
yeah.
going for. I think it was selling for like 20 or $25, so I may put that up on there because I did find the proper cover for #1, like the reissue, just to get rid
Yeah,
of that variant one.
I think you should. Because why? Because if
Hello,
it's
Paulo Costa.
while it's this thing going on, I think it's the best way for you to get your money back if you want to, or
Yeah,
get
exactly.
more money, what you
Make a
feel
little
like.
more. Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah,
directly spend it on more comics. Yeah,
exactly. So if you
directly
can, you
transition that.
can. But yeah, if you can still go, because the minute it's gonna end, everybody's gonna be forgetting about it until they're gonna
Yeah.
get collected editions, and that's the thing. Because what they did with this new event, they kind of like this DC or Marvel probably does the same thing. They cancel the books, and apparently people are enjoying the books. The like the runs of the books they already have come out, and then
Mhm.
because of this event they completely chucked everything out and just put this shoved in their faces. So that's why people like really proper going for, like pissed off at it.
Yeah. You and me both, AFPC.
Yeah, yeah.
Need some more Space
Exactly.
Riders.
My husband is
Yeah.
like, "Where is it?" It's like, "Well, I don't know. It's never
Yeah.
probably gonna happen anymore."
Not anytime
Maybe.
soon. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Exactly. So big fan of Zeus. So yeah. So I read those three. Like
Cool.
I already read them basically all those three issues in the row, and I absolutely, as I say, I absolutely love that moment of Batman taking over Batman. This is one of my favorite things, and it's right on. Like why not? You're not just because you're Batman.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, what are you going to do about it? Like, what you can do to me? I'm dead already.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's just such a
Yeah.
good way to diss on Batman, like, what you going to do?
Totally.
Man, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing
I'm
to
in
me
control.
anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's beautiful.
So I'll talk about this one next.
Oh,
Yeah, let's talk
yes.
about this one next. So this is this Wake.
So,
So yeah, I think it's a 5. I think it's 5 books. I've got the first 3 that I found at this
I see. Now I
Midway
get
books
what you're
for
talking about.
$5 American a piece, which is a pretty damn good price for NBM stuff, I think. Pretty enjoyable story. This first book, I've only read the first book. Pretty good setup. I kind of dig the art. It's not an art style that I'm always drawn to immediately, this one, but again, it's one of those things of like, this book is freaking gigantic. Like, there's just a regular comic, so it's big, and it's just, again, it's that constant reminder of how much better it is to read books at this size. So super cool, very cartoony kind of style. Like, when I think European books and things, I don't often think like, it's weird because it feels like there's a couple of different aspects of it. There's like the Spirou, there's like the Tintin kind of clean line style, and that sort of that kind of end of cartooniness. This feels a little different kind of cartooniness than that stuff, you know. So the thing that I thought was really stupid, we'll just talk about that first just to get out of the way, is the stupid fucking black bar that they put over her every single one. And the thing is, if this would focus more, you'd see that it's clearly added afterwards, because you can see right through it, and you can see nipples, the evil nipples through it. I just find it so fucking stupid to do something like that. Like, if you're gonna reprint these books, I don't know, man. I mean, it's, you know, end of the day, it's your company, you do whatever the hell you want, but I mean, these are great pages. I just think it's so fucking dumb to do something like that, because I mean, then they don't do it in some other panels and you can catch glimpses or whatever, and it's just so childish, I find, that to do that. Anyway, so this is clearly a planet where it's a little more tribal, I guess. And she's discovered this descendant of the Spirou style. Thank God you're here, Apollo. Wick is a descendant of the Spirou style, although with a couple of generations in the middle, for sure. Yeah, I can see that for sure with some of like the figure designs and things like that. So this little spaceship has crashed, and this alien is kind of fried. So her first instinct, of course, is to take a bite out of him, because it's food for her. She was hunting anyway. And then we kind of get introduced to this alien species that's coming down to the planet. They have these suits on that look pretty amazing, actually. They're used to a much hotter climate, so they go and looking for a new world to kind of conquer and live on. And they're slowly pushing this planet closer to the sun so they can raise the temperature on the planet itself. And that's kind of the very broad strokes of kind of what we're looking at. The something odd is going on with this main kind of villain. He hasn't told the rest of, I think, the group of people. I was a little confused with the names of some things. I think the group of people that the species that he comes from, I think they're the ones that are called the Wake. So in the meantime, she's kind of gone on to she eventually gets onto the ship. She has this kind of visit from this little spirit. I think it's the spirit of this alien creature that she's digested. She's now digested it. And at one point it says to her that he's starting to regenerate. So I think he's starting to regenerate inside her, and we'll see what happens when that's done. Yeah, I think they're more concerned about the areola. Absolutely. So it's a pretty decent little story for sure. I'm really curious to see where this goes. And like I said, some of the action scenes are really well done. The movement is really well done. The art has really grown on me. I do like it, even looking at it again now. I really like a lot of the way this stuff looks. Her animal friend there, unfortunately, gets a blast in the face and kind of falls to his doom. She goes and jumps after him and pulls him up out of the water, and he's got this fried face. He's been burnt to a crisp. But I mean, stuff like this is beautiful. Yeah, it looks really nice on another look now, and seeing it on screen, it's pretty beautiful. Yeah. So another one, you know, I don't know how easy this NBM stuff is to find for people. I know for me personally, it's next to impossible to find this kind of stuff, which is why I usually buy it whenever I see it, because I know I'm not going to find it again. So
can you repeat the creators and the thingy again? Maybe I missed it at the beginning.
Morvan and Boucher, and this is book 1, Fire and Ash. I'll get their full names inside here. they give us. Jean-David Morvan, writer, Philippe
Mm-hmm.
Boucher, artist, and it's NBM. I think it's from 2000. Let's have a look. Was it 2000 or 2008 or? Yeah,
So you're
2000
saying,
is the English translation. 1998
oh
was
yeah,
the original edition, but 2000 is this one.
okay.
Yeah, so pretty great. I'm really looking forward to digging into the rest. And even that back cover is pretty good. The
Sure.
colors on this look pretty amazing.
Okay, only
Even with that stupid black bar.
Do you know that black bar you're talking about? You remember
Yep.
Fifth Element and the way they dealt with her? Why didn't you
Yes.
just wrap around her? So that will make
Interesting.
sense.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
right.
So think
Instead
about
of
Fifth
even looking
Element.
more
Think about how
expensive.
they strapped her. You can still sexy body. You know, you could see nipples, blah 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 blah, whatever. But it was covered. So why don't you do that? Why didn't you just completely cover it so people won't think what the hell you put in censoring all about?
Yeah,
Stupid, like you
absolutely.
say.
Because it's going to a bunch of fucking prudes who they can see people's heads getting blown up, but God forbid you see a fucking nipple. Like it honestly, it makes me angry. It's just so stupid. Let's catch up on the chat here. We're concerned about the areola. Yeah, absolutely. Looking this one up now. I was driving during the sickness talks. Looks very interesting. Hope it works out. I hope so too. All volumes of Wake came out in Portugal around 20 years ago. It wouldn't even occur to the publisher to cover the nipples. Yeah, exactly. But it's probably the first thing that they thought of when they did it. Sub to it through their website, along with Noah's new ongoing book. Okay, talking about the Uncivilized. Yeah, what's that? What is that Noah Van Sciver book called again? I think Colin was talking about it as well too. Khazar's Companion. Oh yeah, Zabu. Morvan was the consultant on the French Conan books that came out through Ablaze in America. Okay, great. There was some really good. Some of that Conan Ablaze stuff was fantastic. Morvan Boucher also worked on the short-lived Marvel Europe line. They did a Wolverine graphic novel set in Brazil. Cool. Nipples have the capacity to overthrow dictators and reduce cities to rubble. Yes, that's right.
I'm looking online, and of course, your comic book you just displayed. Look at the price tag on Amazon. Only Amazon you can do that. Okay, is it?
Hold
no,
on.
I don't think it's going to focus because of the.
You gotta go way
Can you
closer.
see the price tag? Nope.
I can't at all. All I see is a white
£105.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, that's insane. But that's Amazon.
Yes.
That's mental.
I'm just saying. I've been looking to see what kind of price, and also only in America on eBay so far, and I didn't see only the €5 on eBay for seconds. It's called Stillage. I found.
Yeah.
It's the same comic you were talking about, but it's hardcover. And this is but I don't think you can see it. If you can see it, you can, but if you can't.
Oh, that's a hardcover collection of it?
Yeah, it's called Stillage. But I think it's not in English. Yeah, it's not. It's called, strip.
Andrew says he's finding one for $20 when he's looking.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's just how ridiculous can Amazon be? But that's Amazon for you. But I'm just just looking up on Google to see the price tag on that stuff.
Yeah, right. I wish it came out today so it could be translated as the woke to drive people crazy. Yeah. Or the wake, because there was that other one, wasn't there? Wake.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I'm so silly about that thingy though. Yeah. Even for me.
Yeah.
So only in English, and it's only on digital so far as well. I'm continuing to see it's the second volume of this Yojimbot series.
Yeah.
So there's 2 issues of. First one is by Sylvain Repos. Of course, French guy. He has everything going on in print in Europe, not in UK. And Europe Comics website has these. If you want to get hold of it, it's a Yojimbot is like a broke robot story about the boy who basically in the area where everything disappears, machinery basically crumbles to part, humanity barely can survive, and then this guy created these robots who's supposed to have some sort of intelligence, and there's this boy who's basically the only survivor probably left, and he has these robots to help him to find this tower of resurrection. Is absolutely beautiful work. of art. If it's a lot, if you like your Jimbo, I think this would go right up your alley for sure. It's really good action. It's really easy reading material, but it's super fantastic look, and this is in future. So basically they got into a tower in the first volume, didn't come up the way they wanted to. The boy almost was killed. The robots actually got out of commission, but this other robot who is basically saved the day, he's helping them to come back. I haven't read it fully, the story. This is the villain of the day in the storyline, but it's a beautifully created comic book by another great French artist, it seems to be. And it's a really cool story so far, and I absolutely love this kind of stuff. I'm not loving that I have to do it in only digital format. I sometimes I choose to read in hey Damon, in that format, but this one I would definitely like to have it in print, because I think it's well worth to have that. But unfortunately in Europe Comics they do not print in English. You can do it digital and read that. But you can explore the European artists in English format, so that's new stuff, and it's extremely popular. So it's the same thing like Undertaker, another one comic from Europe Comics, which I absolutely love, but I absolutely hate that I have to do it in digital format, because it's a cowboy storyline about Undertaker I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
and it's based
I remember.
in Europe, and it's really good. And I love the work, and I love that era, of course, because it's the cowboys and stuff. But yeah, it's another Europe Comics gem. A lot of more people should get hold of, like this one, your gem bot. I'm playing it, speaking about the storyline. It's simple story. It's nothing too groundbreaking, but it's fun. Those kind of things, the comic books you want to follow to understand what's going to happen through, because story is intriguing enough for me to go, and I just want to explore the world, because his imagination, this is more talky the first, but his backgrounds are as fantastic as ever. I'm looking for, I like scenes like these. I think his shadowing, picking is really fantastic. We're going through just the stairs down, but the panel itself is fantastic, and it has this sound, tap tap tap, because the robots are climbing downstairs, and it's imaginative, like looks of futuristic, maybe future or whatever happens in here. So fantastic. So Sylvain Rapos, just butchered his name properly. Yeah. This is volume 2 of that.
Sorry, did you say this is also put up by Europe Comics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry if it's if you can't see it properly, but yeah. Proof.
Oh yeah.
I zoomed in. Oh no! Go away! No! Stop saying that! No! Why did you say that? Paula's playing with my emotions, which is not fair. That book, honestly, the Undertaker even more loved by me, but the art is,
it's amazing. Yeah, it's really great,
and the story is absolutely fantastic. It's almost on the like, because like me and Blueberry never gonna but this is
there it
volume
is. Look at that.
yeah. So but the Blueberry, I love Blueberry, but this guy honestly is getting to that level of and he's absolutely popular in Europe. Paolo probably can tell, but I know that he's extremely popular with his series in Europe. Damn, why is it not coming in English? Not in digital, but in print is. And now he's saying that Undertaker's in deluxe edition, slightly larger than European. Oh my god! You're talking filth. Shh. I'm so upset
That's
now.
Paulo Costa canceled.
I can't believe it, Paolo. Oh my god!
Yeah,
I bet
awesome.
it's beautiful to look at as well.
I
But
bet you
so
did, yeah.
People go explore Europe Comics. You definitely won't be disappointed. So many things there to because this is basically your kind of slide door to open you to the more European comic books and what creators doing in there. Because honestly, the few of them I explore, or getting tempted, like just to support them. It's like, yeah, okay, give me. I could have it in print, but I don't read French. Shit. So
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
So since we're on this tip, let's stay on. This is a Cinebook. This one I had. This one is another one that I got in the States too. So Long John Silver. And this is written by Dorison, right?
Yes.
Who also did Animal Castle, who's the pen behind this series, which still not done yet, volume 2. This was, by the end of it, I did enjoy it. So they make a point of saying that this isn't supposed to be, let's see, this book does not claim to be a sequel to Treasure Island, merely an homage to an extraordinary masterpiece that has never stopped evoking wonder in us ever since we were children. So it's not like they're not looking to kind of continue the story of Long John Silver. They're looking to just kind of do another tale about Long John Silver. The one complaint I would have with this one is that the art, it made the storytelling really difficult to follow at times. I really so confused that I had to reread pages a couple of times to kind of figure out what I was seeing or what I missed. It was another one of those books. Sometimes it's happened in the past. I can't think of when the last time was, but where I feel like when I turn the page, did they not print a page? Did I miss a panel? Did 2 pages stick together and I've missed something? Because it's this jump in time that doesn't quite work. And there was even one shot where Long John Silver starts coughing up blood, but the way the story was presented, the panel before it on the previous page looked like, did he get hit? Yeah, right here. So at the bottom of this page, our kind of main doctor here is talking to Long John, confronting him, and they kind of have this last panel where I couldn't tell what the hell was going on. Is this the doctor attacking him? And then on the next page, he's kind of hovering over him and he's coughing up blood and telling him, get away from me, I'll be fine. I was so confused as to, was there an altercation? So minus a couple of those bits that were a little unclear with like the storytelling and the art because of the darkness. It was a pretty damn good book. I'm super curious. Again, it's one of those that I wish I would have found other volumes. I don't remember seeing any other volumes of this one. I would love to read more of this one. This one I think was 2008 or something, I want to say. 2010 was this English translation. The original came out in 2007. So pretty fun. The art isn't bad by any stretch. There's a lot of really good moments, especially at the end when we do see that ship kind of finally setting sail. It was also great to see this last scene of Long John and his pirates taking over one of the ships. Was pretty great. Like a couple of them hiding out in barrels of rum to attack the crew when they least expect it. It was pretty great. So I think this is going to be a pretty fun book. I don't know how many volumes there was, 3 or 4. I'm not really sure. If Paulo's here, he probably knows a lot more about this than I do. So Cinebook, another one, like always worth checking out any Cinebook stuff. I know that Cinebook is a little bit easier to get your hands on because I think they keep stuff up to date. I think they keep stuff in print through Cinebook.
Have you ever tried to go to the website and see if they ship to abroad or not?
I haven't actually. Honestly, I've never really looked at their website. It was always just through Book Depository that I was getting the Thorgal stuff. But yeah, it might be worth checking out their website. I know that I can probably get some books through my comic shops. You know, they can probably order from them. So
yeah,
he says 4. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's they have volume 1, and it's £8.99.
That's not bad. That ain't bad, eh?
No, not bad at all. For the trade paperback, as they call them, definitely.
Yeah. What's the price? So when it came out, the UK price is $6.99 for when this first came out. So that's not too bad. Yeah, so pretty close.
It's in their own website, so it was cheaper when it came out first. So interesting,
right?
So it's funny that they don't have his. Blaze got his Animal Castle, but not Cinebook. Interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they go for Dory. You know, if you have a creator, they usually have his work more. But they, you know, like anyway. So his website, yeah. So I should
yeah.
maybe go look more. But I was wondering because it wouldn't tell me how much is it for me here because I'm in UK. But I'm wondering what they would say to you in Canada and how much they would if they even
Yeah.
ship it. I doubt they would
And
be, but
I wonder if they went to a Blaze just for that to kind of break into the American market, you know. So
probably, yeah,
I wonder.
yeah. Yeah, I like the piracy stuff. I even like piracy games. Um,
Raining
uh,
in Vegas in August, that's unusual. It's usually pretty dry, is what you're saying there, Chaos?
oh,
The
lovely.
desert and all.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was that one. What do you got?
What else do I have? Oh, I have a couple things I read from. Oh, I wanted to ask now. That Texas Blood, is that the series by Jacob Phillips and the other guy?
Yeah,
Did you read about that series or have
I
you?
I didn't, but those covers that he's done are phenomenal for issue
So
1 or 2. They're unbelievable.
because I've read a couple of preview issues cover pages of new series that came up called the Enfield. What
Yeah,
is it called?
Enfia, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yes.
The Enfield Gang Massacre.
Yeah,
And I
yeah, I
read
love
a
those
couple of
covers.
pages, only like I don't know, preview or somewhere. I got anyway. Looks great. I think Jacob Phillips is getting his own eye into it. Very much Daddy's
Mhm.
son. Very much
Yep.
influenced by Dad a lot. But it's a Cowboys, and for me to buy issue 1 is quite difficult now because it came out. It's a Phillips name, and it seems to be the prices are quite high for the issue 1, and apparently it was really popular. And I don't know if it's sold out or anything, but they're saying it's kind of they say it's the same creative team which done that Texas Blood. I think is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
the
Yeah.
Texas Blood.
And it's
So
kind of like an offshoot from that story, from what I understand. But you don't
and
need to
then
know that main title to get into this new one.
and apparently what I've read about the creator and what's his intent for the story, the Enfield thing, massacre, is about the story Texas, even schools they've been taught about this place where this massacre actually really happened. But not everything is told the truth. Like they hide that the government kind of hidden the full story of it, and that
Right.
just becomes my like that ting ting ting, you know, like what the hell are they covering up, you know, like that
Yeah, right.
conspiracy theory. So
Yeah.
apparently this dude who was in charge in that area, he was against these people who basically they were bad guys because they couldn't, you know, like they were shooting up, you know, stealing things from the, you know, the whatever places the money was kept in that era.
Hmm.
And because he was trying to get rid of, because it's all, again about locals and Cheyenne, you know, they're in the same areas,
Hmm.
and he wanted to eliminate everybody of that kind of color, let's say this
Right.
way.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was kind of like the beginning of his influence about on people who's like not native and native in the same time. And that massacre happened, which they're saying they not fully told to people how many people died and why they were doing that and
Hmm.
where actually happened, how many people were killed. So that's that thing. It would be interesting how much, you know, they when they use those kind of stories to tell comic book, I kind of intrigued already.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Yeah.
by a couple of pages, just looking at the art and sub couple of lines, it seems to be quite intriguing.
Hmm.
I'm already looking for issue 1, but I can't find it.
Oh no, really?
But
Hey.
because of I'm late, you know, like I'm late. The party's been
Okay.
around 2 weeks before this
Oh,
week, maybe it came out. So you know, like it's a bit too
yeah.
far away for
I
issue
thought it
1
was just
already.
this last week. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying if you like your Cowboys, I probably would if you can find an issue. I want you to read, so I can
Yeah.
see if I'm waiting for it or not.
Honestly, I do want to check it out because, like I said, I
Yeah.
was really taken by that cover. I thought it was a phenomenal cover,
No.
and like you
Mhm.
said, he's definitely his
Yeah.
dad's son, but there's something else going on there. It looks like
Yes.
he really is
Yes.
developing a little bit of his own
Yeah.
voice as well. So that's also exciting to see how he kind of
Yeah.
uses that as a jumping off point and where he goes with it. But yeah, I just haven't been to Galaxy Comics. Will probably still have it on the shelf, but I just haven't been there in a few
Yeah.
weeks or a couple of weeks, I guess.
So yeah, if you guys, I don't know if you have not looked it up, if you're a cowboy, like that's kind of era of a style of writing or stories you like to read, I mean, I find it intriguing already by just reading a couple of notes and stuff. Like me, I like.
Yeah.
You saw Undertaker. I absolutely absorbed that
Yeah.
and I completely like intake and give me more, which takes
Yeah.
a long time to come apparently in English as well. But I like that kind of story. So,
Hmm.
and another thing mentioning about it, have you even thinking about picking up new Brubaker and Sean Phillips' book, that Night Fever? I think it's called.
I was thinking about it, but honestly, I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Because I kind of got burnt out on them a little through
Yeah.
Reckless because I just wasn't a fan. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how excited I am to go and rush out and pick up this new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't, I've seen it out there and I've kind of
Yeah.
thought about it, but not enough to kind of grab it yet because I'm
Did
just
you
not feeling
scroll?
the Reckless thing. I didn't even flip. No, because the one I saw was sealed. I think it was sealed in plastic, the one that I saw. So
I see.
I didn't have a chance. I just saw it on a shelf but
I
yeah, I'm
have.
curious about it for sure. But it's one of those I'm kind of waiting to see who
Yeah.
else reads it and what they have to say about it compared to Reckless. Because if it's not as good as Reckless in other people's minds, then I know that I'll want to stay away from it because I don't think Reckless is very good.
I have mixed feelings. I heard already mixed feelings as well. Oh, there you go. Jacob's coloring
Coloring
wasn't
on Night
kick.
View was kick
So
ass.
that's the
That's good.
it's a good thing to see that the Jacobs is getting his eye on it. I mean, not only he's doing the coloring now, he's actually his artists are really properly improving, which is great. I mean, he has the platform and he has a person next to him to basically give him pointers. It was written. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
different than
Damien.
Reckless for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to know if it's better than or worse than,
Yeah. Because I was the same thing feeling about, because I didn't enjoy Reckless whatsoever. I don't know what's happened to that in my mind, but it just didn't drive me the story. It wasn't exciting
No, me
enough for
neither.
me, and more like, oh, why? Oh, eyes wide shut. Okay.
Oh, right. This is the only Brubaker book that I want more of.
Oh
Ed
yes.
Brubaker, Marcos. Like this is a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic series. Um, Unlike Jared, I think book one was exceptional. Book two was better, no doubt about it. But I think both of these books, they
Mm-hmm.
are phenomenal. Like I think stick with this, give us more of this quicker because this is so good. Very very fun read. That's the one that I'm looking forward to the most. So.
Are they only on subcover? They don't in hardcovers, the Fridays?
Actually, I'm not sure. I only have them in softcover. I'm not sure if
Okay.
they've done other editions of them.
Yeah, because I bought in digital, through that.
Yep.
What is that called website? I don't know. The
Yeah, I
Private
don't
Eye,
remember.
was it?
No, Private Eye was that was the comic they did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So yeah, I don't remember the name.
Panel Syndicate.
Oh, there you go. That's the one. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll show you something quite different.
I agree.
It's
AFPC, he absolutely does. Marcos
yes,
Martin makes that book so incredible.
exactly. I agree. It's Seven Stories Press. Never heard of them. This is
Don't think
something
so.
again new from a publishing house, and it's wait, let me see. It's Seven Stories Press, New York, Oakland, and Liverpool. I don't know why they're saying that, but it's what it says in the book. So this is the book I'm talking about, The Lost Soul by Olga Tokarczuk and Joanna Conchecho. I don't know. They Polish. Both of the ladies are Polish, but I'm butchered the names proper. Sorry about that. So yeah, so I saw this one. I of course didn't look. I love the way it represented itself. Looked like an old kind of school book of this kind of
Yeah.
back. Just a couple of words of back. Nothing to spoil you.
No,
And
you're not, Chris. I ended up selling my copies. That's how much I didn't like them.
okay. And it's really well represented book. It's beautiful art
Oh wow,
style.
look at that.
The very thick paper. It's extremely slim. It's not a comic book. I'll show you why. But it was placed in the comic book section. But I'm glad anyway. Yeah, prose novelist. Yes, she's great, and yeah, she's one of the most celebrated person in Poland. She got like prestigious awards, and also she got the recognition and stuff. So it's beautiful. And sorry, there's Joanna. She's the artist of this. So, and she has this like is a pencil or is a pen? I'm not sure. It's the way it's printed. It feels like both. It could be, but it's really moody style at the beginning. So this is the beginning of the book I'm showing to you. It's just memories. It looks fantastic.
Very nice. Yeah, really nice.
And this is how the book gets introduced by those couple of pages first. And then you have something to read, which goes this way. So it's very much like my favorite things like is monsters, like a cube paper, you know, like the
Oh, right.
math paper kind of thing,
Yep.
and it's been drawn on a page. And this is
Graph
the
paper,
most
yeah.
of your reading of this book will be because it's setting a tale about a man who is a workaholic. He sleeps really little. He is the guy of the city kind of thing, you know, does the things, plays a bit of a tennis, and to his surprise, he starts losing it kind of thing, where he can't breathe. He's thinking something is really wrong with him, and he gets really worried. He forgets his name. He thinks that sorry, he thinks that his name is Matthew one time. Then he thinks he doesn't understand where he is. He's kind of lost his own way. Things like he lost his memory in sometimes, but then he looked in his passport and he found out that his name is John. He goes to the doctor to find out what's happening to him. And the doctor is telling him a story about how us being so busy in our lives these days, but our souls can't keep up with us because our souls drag, like they are much slower than we do on what we do in daily basis. So he's trying to convince him, the doctor's trying to convince him that, you know, the only thing you need to do is slow down, you know, just slow down and wait for your soul to come back to you and you will be back to yourself kind of thing. And this tale is basically told afterwards. So you read that thing and afterwards you just absorb this. It's interesting. They have this other paper which is kind of see-through.
Oh, yeah.
How to show it to you, but it's very imaginative piece of book or a work of you two ladies. This kind of like scenery is really much like, because Poland is very close to my country, it almost feels like I'm back at home, because this is what actually our countryside houses really looks like as well. So it really feels like homely to me, and sceneries and stuff like that. But it's absolutely mind-boggling amount of work this artist has placed on a piece of paper. And then how he says is basically leaves the city, goes into this house, sits down, and is waiting for his soul to be back. To his own surprise, he has to wait a very, very long time for his soul to be basically keeping up with you. So he's still sitting, and this is just memories and things are passing by. This scene is also very much like feel like back home. I actually remember this party I had in my great grandmother's house, and she kind of was living in the wooden house. And I remember people dancing around to this weird polka music, and I was feeling like really embarrassed when I was little. But I, you know, like this memory is just popping up in this book is really driving those memories forward. And he's sitting down, still waiting for his soul, until when he looks up in the mirror and sees himself like completely bearded, like his beard grew until his like waistline. So yeah, it's a beautiful tale. It's a very short story, but it's very imaginative. It's basically telling you people try to slow down because we can't keep up with this day of life. And to end off all this black and white style, when his soul finally arrives to him, the color comes through, and then she slowly introduced the color to you, and that's his soul in the girl format, because apparently in Poland, soul is a female form. So, and this is the main character who grew his beard. So, beautiful, absolutely beautiful piece of work.
It's really gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very imaginative,
Look
and
at that,
it's,
man.
yeah, and it's just for those pages. It's maybe, you know, the book wasn't the cheapest. Like it came out $33 or 30 Canadian dollars for the book, because now people are calculating how much they can read in order to quantify how much the book should cost you. But
Yeah.
you know, I was lucking out all the time having that on my library, and my library seems to be liking this kind of stuff to give to you to
Wow.
explore.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of spoiled the whole book. But
Yeah,
if you want to
as they
just
should though. I mean, they
experience
should
this,
kind of reach out into different areas as a library to
oh
expose
yeah,
people to different things. Yeah,
exactly,
that's
yes,
great.
yeah. And I really enjoyed this experience. And the more I look
Yeah.
at it, the more I could go back. Okay, I'll spoil the last page as well, because it's
Yeah,
actually
that's okay. Yeah.
extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very popular, those red roofs in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now, it used to be like asbestos roof, which is not very good for you. But now it's
No.
metal. We're going back to a bit better style of roofs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, really beautiful. It's kind of really like, if you want to kind of know how the countryside in the Eastern European countryside looking like, this book is completely represents that. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it's like screams home. And maybe I'm a bit homesick. But that's why it screams home for me. But even this
Yeah.
block of flats, for example, I was living in one of those kind of block of flats, 5-floor block of
Yeah.
flats, very Russian, not great, but hey,
Yeah.
part of experience. Anyway, it's beautiful,
Wow.
absolutely. So yeah, if you can see this book and these creators, which I'm not going to speak out aloud anymore, you can have a look. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Okay,
My
yeah.
library has a copy.
Oh, there you go. Go for it. Go, go,
Oh,
go, go.
yeah. Yeah.
Have experience this. It's definitely well worth it, the time spent on it, and you just, you know, have your feel for the tale, because I don't know, it's a kind of a teaching story, you know, like, where not teaching but reflecting story, you know, like sit
Yeah.
down,
Right.
relax, come back to yourself, who you are, or have your time to slow yourself down. Never,
Yeah.
you know, especially like I used to live in London, and that London life was like this: rush, 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 rush. Never breathe. Go sleep. Wake up. Go back to work. Da, 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 da. And that just, for some people, works. For me, never worked. I had to come to this kind of life, you know, like, where it's quieter, much more relaxing. A bit of a shock when you live from London and go to village,
Yeah.
but if you're willing to slow down, it's definitely fantastic. Yes, I agree with you. Support your local libraries. I do that very often, and I always go, and I even
Never.
I always I on purposely pre-order some books so I can pay some cash towards it, because they know that it's popular. You know, this is how you tell them. Of course, by taking the books and popularity of need of people reading it, but also by, you know, yeah. Apparently, yeah, I was
Cool.
reading up a little bit of it, so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's very
Yeah.
popular.
That
Apparently,
looked amazing. Looks
yeah, she's
amazing.
one of the head writers of, or the most celebrated writers in Poland as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So very nice.
So I'm gonna try my best to give a little bit of a look at this kind of triptych or whatever. I don't know how much justice I'll do to it, but I did want to mention it. And it seems appropriate to mention it after that. It's the 3 books from Lillian Generoso that they self-published
Oh yeah.
that are on Domino. So
Yeah.
Vessel, Inversion, and then the new one, Chua. I say that it sort of fits in with it because I feel like there's some potentially similar ideas at work here. The first, at least in the first 2, so there's supposed to be a triptych, not necessarily continuation from one another, but exploring some of the same themes. There seems to be, especially in the first 2, this idea of sickness, illness, reaching the end of your life, and sort of grabbing on to other aspects of your life and kind of reliving parts of your life, or at least reimagining parts of your life. Both of the books feel like someone dealing with like an end of life scenario where this is it. They've kind of got very, very limited time left due to some ailment. Now, I know that Lily has, from talking to them, Lily has a background in medicine, I believe. So I also feel like there's going to be a bunch of stuff in here that I'm not catching. And I know that for a fact, especially even after talking to like Ryan Carey. He was talking about when he first met them and went out for dinner. He basically sat down and said, okay, what the hell am I missing? What the hell are these books about? I don't know what I'm reading here. But from talking to them, they had said kind of not the opposite, but just that they feel it's open to interpretation. It's open to people's ideas. Obviously, you know, again, like I hate to keep making the it seems like a cheap kind of comparison, but Lynch is very much like that, where he has an idea for sure about what his movies are, but he's very open to, no, it's got to be something that you interpret for yourself. So that's kind of what I was getting out of it. This is a blood illness that's closing the vessels. And as we kind of go through the book, we're seeing you see a lot of kind of panels where you're not seeing somebody's face. So there's this kind of detachment from the people in the book. And then every once in a while you get reminded that these blood vessels are kind of getting caked up. Lily in general. So yeah, that's probably just the way that I've been blurring my words together there. AFPC, they are two people for sure. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of what I've gotten from the first two. I'll just show you a little bit from Inversion as well. And I mean, the other thing is they're fucking gorgeous books. I'm not sure. I think they're getting these printed themselves. There's no real credits inside. So then these first two are from 2022, and then the third book is from 2023. The color palette for the second one changes. We get a lot more blues in this one too. But again, you feel like you're dealing with someone that's reliving moments of their life and kind of not quite kind of holding on to being alive, because there doesn't feel like there's not an acceptance, which is also something that really stood out. It's not like these are grief-stricken books where I felt where the characters were kind of desperate not to kind of pass on. They've kind of embraced it and are moving forward in it. But again, they're absolutely books that need a reread for me, just to kind of really dig into a little bit more. And I would be curious if anybody that watches our show has read it. I would love to hear other people's thoughts on stuff, because this does feel like a book that's open to some discussion as to what things I missed, because for sure I missed some stuff in it. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's a little bit daunting going into it. Even before I met them, even before I knew anything about the book, sometimes some of the books that Domino talks about on their website, I do find a little daunting, because I feel like you have to come at it with some base knowledge, which that's purely just me thinking that. That's not presented in any way by anybody else. This one is the one that's the most mysterious to me. I can't even really describe anything about it again, but it deals with like this medical theme. There's this kind of scientific and medical theme throughout all of their books. Not quite dystopian, but how that relates to kind of irregular life. So from what I understand, Lily is writing, and then Generoso is the artist. And Lily has written for they both also write for, I think it's an online magazine doing movie reviews and that sort of thing. They both do writing there, but I believe for these three books, she's doing the writing and he's doing the art. I think that's the division of labor with these two. Beautiful stuff though, really gorgeous pages, beautiful big illustrations in that kind of style that I love. A little more kind of simple style, but again, you were talking about my favorite thing is monsters with that last book. This kind of has some of that feeling as well too, because they feel kind of that pen and ink, that really overly worked pen and ink to get these beautiful textures. I mean, even just looking at the sleeves on that one, I think is pretty gorgeous looking stuff, you know.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And that kind of angle is really nice too. So it kind of gives that sense going through this book.
You know that
So yeah,
beetroot.
sorry, what's that?
You know that beetroot you keep on showing me in that in this issue in particular, the beetroot they were
Oh
working and
yes,
cutting
yeah.
and
Yep.
preparing.
Yep.
There's one famous soup in my country. Look at how homesick I feel. It's
Okay.
cold beetroot soup. Absolutely
Okay.
a weirdness of them all, because people, every new person I introduce that soup to, they think it's the most outrageous thing you can put on a table.
Right.
But it reminds me of that, because I love the pickled beetroot in apple juice, because that's how we make it in my country. And we make a soup with milk products, and we put pickled beetroot, cucumber, spring onions, and boiled egg inside, and it's cold.
Okay.
And it's so cold.
Cold.
And people are thinking like, this is nonsense, but if you try it a couple of times, you'll get addicted, because it's delicious and it's very refreshing for summer.
Yeah, right.
And that book just reminded me of that. I'm sorry I interrupted, but it's just like I thought I'm going to mention.
That's fine. Yeah.
It looks wonderful. I mean, that pencil style of drawing is such a labor of love, because it's not one stroke, not two strokes, but you continuously have to, you know, like work at it. And it's just gives you such a element in art where it just gives you the form without needing shadows. Because if you play with the like your strokes right, you can actually make it into shape, which is fantastic when it comes to pencil. But it's a lot of work to do when you want to achieve that. Like your hand goes like works on it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
It's beautiful looking stuff. Like it just there are a couple that I'm just very curious to see what else they end up doing, because these are pretty strong bits of work from you know, from kind of quote unquote newer creators, right? They're a real strong showing right out of the gate. I believe these are the first kind of full length books they've done. They might have done some stuff previous and some definitely with some writing, but I don't know how many comics they've done before this, or if you can even call these comics, or if it matters. But it's just really, it's pretty damn impressive, man. But their dense books definitely need rereads to kind of absorb it a little bit more.
I think this kind of work, especially, it's such a, you know, like simple couple of lines, and there's this picture on it, so you have to kind of like, it's good way if you can meet the creators and basically dissect the brain and ask what the hell you're talking about. Or you just like you brisk through pages and you kind of get to idea what kind of your brain what kind of messages is going to perceive.
Yeah.
Well, pierogi is one of the
ones like them both. Yeah.
Borscht is a hot type of beetroot soup, which is absolutely delicious. Once again, in my country, we have the same. It tastes different too, actually. I tasted both Polish and my countries, and they somehow end up being very kind of slight ways different, but in the same ways same. So we have interpretations to the same kind of recipes in different way. But pierogi is another level. We have some kind of other ones like pie looking, not as small as pierogi is. But they are delicious if you get it, like especially from a Polish restaurant. I bet you just like devour and say, "Oh my God, why did I eat so many?"
Yeah.
You feel guilty.
They sound dangerous because I love pierogies. Yeah, I love a good latke. Isn't that what it's called? Latke, the potato pancakes. I love
Jewish,
potato pancakes. There's a place down by where I used to live, the falafel place, and they have this breakfast. They have this falafel breakfast that is to die for, and they've got these gigantic potato pancakes, and it's fucking heaven. It's such a good breakfast. Yeah.
Are they grated like with a potato, like cheese grater?
Like shredded kind of thing. Yeah.
In my country, we have as well potato pancakes and things, but we actually make them the potato. We grate them to nothingness basically, and use that as a batter. So you don't have it's not cheese grated basically. You can have both options, of course, but the ones I like, because it's much more subtle, it's not as crunchy, and it's more softer base to it. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Similarities of the
I'm getting so hungry now.
It's too late for me to eat. Anyway.
Not too late for me.
Yeah, definitely. And well, you can also have. So
Right.
the last one of my readings, it's from Dark Horse to my surprise, but it's a. Oh wait, no, I read that one. So you
Oh,
can
you
talk
did. Okay.
afterwards, and I can
No, no,
pick
no, no.
point.
Go ahead. I thought that's where you were gonna go to.
No, 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 not yet.
Okay.
I'm doing Dark Horse, and it's called the
Hey,
Vertical Sea. This is another kind of like it would definitely go very good in my channels because of comic therapy. This is very therapeutical kind of in a way. It's opening eyes of people who has a panic attacks. And this
yeah.
lady, it's by Italian creators, so Brian Frecci, or and Iliara Urbinati, sorry, I'm not Italian, can't pronounce pretty well. But these two creators who has a story about the teacher, who is the main point of view in here, who has suffered suffering from panic attacks to an extent where she completely in the way it was described as losing complete plot in a way she's at, and how she's struggling to be a elementary teacher or primary school teacher if you're in England, or and then she loves her work, but she's been struggling because it was exposed to her parents or schools children's parents, that she has problems, and she's been basically told to leave the job because how dare you being in charge of our children, because we don't, we can't really rely on you because of those panic attacks, and how people has to deal with them. And the introduction to this book is her talking to, I presume, psychologist who's basically trying to help her find a way to find a solution to her problem. And the way it starts is it's her feel or what she's imagining her panic attacks, how to describe them. So she feels like she's some sort of a person who's lost in the woods, in kind of like, or super, or it's the way she tries to describe to kids as a stories, to portray her panic attacks to them in a lighter vein, or being like, let them be informed and not hide away from it. But as you know, like if you're not looking the same or you're not the same, it kind of becomes like a stigma towards other people, and them not understanding your own ways. And we're basically following her life through that. So she has a relationship, everything seems to be going well. Her boyfriend is a person who ships away for a week at a time. She's a teacher, she's traveling, seems to be extremely happy person. Her kids in school completely loves her because she has this imaginative stories. She takes them into like like museums and stuff, explains, and this is like more graphic style of the relationship, which is natural, I guess, to show that. And the way the Iliara's artwork is very simplistic. But believe me, people, to do this simplistic, it takes lots of effort to be this uh, drawing this in this way, because it's not as easy to express in as little lines of this. And her panel work is absolutely stunning. It looks like she's in motion. You definitely know that she's in motion, she's in a hurry. Everything looks like, like when she travels to work, to school. And I really enjoyed the way it's been written. I was really worried because when you have somebody who's completely struggles at work life and in relationship, and also just being kind of who she was, and kind of being herself, is much more difficult because people are judging, even at work. People, her teacher or the person who's in charge of them, she's kind of like sort of supportive but not really, kind of hush hush, don't tell them anything, don't tell your kids about your situation, how you feel, don't, like, so. And but how the parents are plainly speaking to her, like, how dare you, fuck you, kind of like really like leave the job. I don't understand how the school is coming behind out. I don't want my son to be part of your school. I think you shouldn't be here, like kind of this kind of words. So this kind of people can give up quite easily, because but in somehow she's still looking for help. She's still continuously loving what she's doing. She doesn't want to give up, but a struggle is real, especially when her relationship is not really going well. because her boyfriend doesn't understand her. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, thankfully. I really was hoping that it's going to be that way, because I honestly don't know if I could have seen this tale going in the bad sense, where people or suicides or something, that kind of emotions can happen because of pressure from society to be you who you are, with your not being what they decide you to supposed to be looking like, or feeling like a person, or being normal, that kind of idea. And the art style is very imaginative, and this her brain's interpretation of panic attacks is really well drawn here. So interesting tale. I highly recommend reading it. I think sometimes we don't understand people's perspectives of situations we can be at, and this way is kind of sheds some sort of light to you, if you want to take it fully to extend to what can it be like. So very good book. Vertical Sea, Dark Horse Publishing by Brian and Iliara. So yeah,
looks
really
beautiful.
good. Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy, like, as I say, sometimes it seems to be the book shows me, like, when my emotions going towards that kind of realm, like, I don't even have to look at the back. I never do. I was like, I try not to judge by cover the book, or I want to judge what's inside. But this is surprisingly great read afterwards. So kind of get into psyche of the person who's completely struggles and completely loses the grip on herself, because she's like, like becomes like a blank canvas for a minute or two until she gets back to being who she was again. So yeah, very interesting and intriguing tale.
Cool. Before we do the sacrificers, like the Grand Odalisque.
Oh wow, you got it.
I did, yeah. It was at the library. So I gave it a shot. So this is book one of because you read the second one. Did you read this one as well? Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't read this one. I read the second one.
Just the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the setup to what was the one that you read? What was it called?
Oh, bloody hell, I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't remember. They didn't have it. They didn't have it in the library, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to wait. I'm hoping that it shows up. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I like this one very much. I felt like I like a good heist tale, and by the end of it, I did enjoy it. Like I did like it, but I didn't like. I don't know. I thought the relationship stuff that they were dealing with while they were in the midst of a heist and all these kind of things, I felt like it was shoehorned in a little bit, and it seemed out of place. And I know that that's probably the entire point of it, and I get that. It's just, I think that it's one of those books where what they were going for just didn't really work for me. Not that I need to have like a traditional heist story by any stretch. I have no problem with wanting to do different things. I did, however, I really enjoy this art as much as, very kind of untraditional. I do really like it. I like the kind of, the lines don't always connect. I like that sketchiness. Even the stuff that looks like there's some stuff that looks pretty heavily photo referenced in kind of a different way. I don't mind that though. I think it looks great. And some of the background textures I thought were really kind of amazing. Like that wall in the background there, I think is pretty great. But I mean, those panels I think illustrate that really well. It has this almost do a quick kind of impression of a photo or something, and just kind of put in a couple of background elements. I'm curious to read the second one. I still will read the second one for sure. If I can get my hands on it, but I don't know if this one on its own amazed me. I'm really curious to see where the story goes with the second book, to see if kind of as a whole it kind of opens up a little bit more. But yeah, there was just some moments where it just felt really shoehorned in, and it was a little sloppy. And again, I'm sure that was the purpose to some degree. It just didn't work as well for me.
So because this is the first book, what lacked in Olympia for me was that the personality seems to be when they wrote Olympia, the personalities were already established.
Yeah.
So are you saying that in this one they were just introducing them as a dynamic of three? Are they three of them there?
There's three. Yeah, they have there's a third person that comes into it there, but that's the thing. At the end of it, it's unsure. We're uncertain as to what's happened with one of the people. It seems like this person has died, but it does say Carol, Alex, and Sam will return in Olympia. So
Yeah.
it's left on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and you do get a little bit of a sense of our two main characters. Like these last few pages are the kind of going back into how they first met.
Yeah.
Just kind
Because
of the beginnings of the relationship. So it does feel like there's a lot in between that you're missing between how they were introduced to each other. You're sort of thrown into this. They're right in the midst of a heist right from page one. And this one woman is going through some drama with her boyfriend at the time. And she's on the phone when she's supposed to be paying attention to the job.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
just kind of how it's played almost kind of as kind of, oh, isn't that kind of wacky? I'm trying to do something and I almost got killed, and you were on the phone with your boyfriend when you were supposed to be kind of showing me
Yeah.
an exit and making sure that I don't get shot and killed. It was just kind of this, yeah, it didn't really work for me. Parts like that just didn't really work for me. But as AFPC is saying, Vives has a fluid gestural line. It's really, really nice. Like it's really, really nice looking stuff. Like those big panels crashing through the skylight and stuff. Forget about it. I really dig it. So
So you know those
yeah.
those lines you were saying interpreting the walls architecture.
Yep.
So I think that's some sort of the way to say it, but it's a used for artists to basically it plays with your brain, so you know how it should look like, but you don't have to basically completely describe it on a piece of work. Your brain will work for you. So he's basically kind of gesturing that,
Doing an
but your brain
inflection. Yeah.
interprets how it's supposed to look like in the full picture. Of course, if you're willing to do that, to be open to that kind of realm. But the thing with that, now by listening to what you're saying about this, it seems to be this is the way. Is it translate? I presume it's translated. So originally it was printed in French.
I believe so. Yeah.
Because it does feel the same way with Olympia.
Okay.
It feels like they throw at you. So that's why at the beginning, while I was not understanding with the full context of that this story was before printed in that one, but it feels like the same thing. They were throwing you at you this information, but then the person, when you read Olympia, Carol disappears. So the girl, the bobcut.
Yes.
So she disappears. So she disappears because she gets pregnant. And she wants out of the blue, like she appears again, but like already with a belly, because she's like, I want to, like kind of, she wants to probably, because she's not your atypical person who's dealing with his life. She's a thief at the end of the day. So when you get to that point where you get pregnant, you kind of like, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. You make a decision. So you need to disappear. And it seems to be that they have this relationship. I think Sam, I don't know, remember if I correctly, the goofy one, the one who outspoken, who is not afraid to tell about sexual connotations towards the men and everything. Blah, blah. So she and Carol apparently have this like really close knit relationship, and suddenly she disappears. And then in Olympia, you have like with that third person you were talking about, whatever her name is now, I don't remember, and they're like kind of struggling because they biting each other, because they clash.
Yeah, that's right. And they are even in this. Yeah, they clash right from the get-go in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the third, the Carol seems to be was like a rounding off person to help them to be who they were and like kind of work together, because she's kind of like, I take you, you kind of listen, and then we glue together and we go on with our jobs. But I think it's just the way they write it or how they translate it to us is the thing. And I wonder if it's original writing is that same context or feel to the story is. Because it seems to be like almost like when you were describing is like deja vu, because that's how I felt. Like, boom, there you go. There's your plot line, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? I don't understand. Why?
And
you read, if you take attention, suddenly the story kind of like explains to yourself to it. But as I say, the personality-wise, it was lacking to me a little bit because I wasn't understanding full grasp of the story.
Yeah. Well, and I think like AFPC says here, you got to embrace the goofiness for sure. There's absolutely a part of that where you've got it, like I know that there's not a big giant dinosaur destroying a city. You have to embrace some of these things because that's just part of the world. I just don't know if I was ready or willing to kind of embrace that side of it. But again, it might be one of those books that especially after reading the second one and maybe revisiting them both back to back. Maybe they have a different impact, but on its own, it didn't kind of sell me. As much as by the end of it, I was kind of interested. I was more interested, especially once they started showing the history of those two main characters. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I would love to see a story about that. But yeah, very curious. I'm glad that I checked it out. You know, again, it's a good thing to have this at my disposal.
My library doesn't have volume 1. They only have volume 2. It's kind of odd. It's like, why would you have
our libraries
2?
need to connect?
Yeah, exactly. It's like ship.
Yeah, ship them across.
Ship across the pond.
Yeah, right.
Which is crazy. But anyway, yeah, it's really weird that they don't have volume 1. It's like, why do you have volume 2 on it then? Because I think Vives in generally, what really attracted me to this anyway, and I think it's like I said to you, that like not full description of his art style, how he's the simplistic art style can actually describe the scenery. It fascinates me because you don't actually fully need to render the pages in order to tell the story or give you a vibe of location, which is, if you can pull that off, I think it's really great, you know, like, because kind of you have a bit of a escape route, you know, from working over yourself too much, you know.
Remember, the French adore Jerry Lewis. Yeah. What was the other one that he did there, AFPC? The drunken something or other, drunken something. I really liked that one as well too. That was pretty fantastic of a read.
If you want to,
completely blanking on the name right now.
I told you, if you can find that Vives, a sister story, I think it's even more, his art is played really well than the one I was reading as well, and I did that. You know, I drew that one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which I think in his old art style and the work of telling the story was really working for me, and I even managed to kind of draw his style way. It worked really well for me in this one. So yeah, if you can, it's called A Sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of his only name on it. Yeah. You Love Last Man. Okay, I haven't seen that.
Love Last Man. Yeah.
I read this Paulina, which Paulina wasn't. I kind of, you know, when a big man, kind of, I always find it kind of weirded me out because it was about ballerina, but it was about a girl who's extremely insecure, very skinny, and there's this man or teacher, I guess, or whatever, a peer of it, and then that kind of gave me a weird vibe. I couldn't shake it off. So I was reading, and I didn't read what the story was telling me. I was just thinking of that. I think it's like you know, those kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to see like creepiness in my head, but I just couldn't shake it. And I was like, I wasn't into the story, and I can't remember really the whole plot line of Paulina. But that's one of the things I saw at the beginning of this work in my library. But yeah, I'm gonna have The Last Man. I will look for it for sure, because I am becoming really a fan of this work, Bastian. Anyway.
Should we do this one?
Go on. I have it. I filed it away somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you have it. I don't need to show it in the same time.
He's saying stay clear of Petit Paul, though.
Oh, okay, cool. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the new Rick Remender. So I'm curious. What are your thoughts? What do you think? How was this first issue for you?
I mean, you know, honestly, there's a lot of it on Free Comic Book Day. A lot. You got like really, if you people can get hold of it in like that, but it's not really easy to hold a Free Comic Book Day one. But it's I don't know what I'm thinking about it yet. I'd really like the struggle when these people came in to get the sacrifice.
Yeah.
One of the members or the kids were supposed to sacrifice.
The oldest son, I guess, is what I'm. At least that's what I think anyway.
It was the oldest son, and the way something happened, we were not told a story what happened. Apparently, you're not supposed to take him anymore because they already gave you a sacrifice, but somehow they came back again to have for somebody else. And that's kind of crazy. But also, I don't know if you had time to read at the back of Rick Remender's thoughts. What he said, what kind of entail.
I didn't actually. Now that you're saying that, I didn't read his thoughts. I see it there, but I didn't read it.
read it, because what he's saying in here will be intriguing, because he's once again going to a brave side where he said he's going to go for the storyline where you will have to interpret what you see more than anything else. I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you a really broad spectrum thing. It's going to be a massive piece of work I'm going to do. But you'll have to work, like, you know, your brain is going to have to kind of give yourself that ideas of what's going to happen. And he's been doing
you know
that.
What? I did read it because what's the first line there? David Lynch is my favorite storyteller. Yeah.
There you go.
So I did read it. You're just reminding me of what he said. Yes, I totally did read it. Yeah.
So so he's very, extremely inspired by David Lynch work, and he's always been influenced by him. So he's kind of like doing that same sort of thing in comic book format, because this is his platform at the end of the day. That's what he's famous for. And I'm really looking forward to it, because at the end of the day, the creators he has, especially of Max Furuyama, and I think he's much more extremely capable to show you the expanse of the universe, presumably will gonna have to show us. Because don't forget, you have this king and the girl who's of the age to become whatever she's going to become. She's rebellious. And then you have those sacrifices. For what reason they're sacrificing themselves? It's not telling
hold on,
you.
let me pause you there. You saw them as royalty, that sun person and the woman?
Yeah, I felt they were.
I read them as gods. And my thought is that he's getting sacrificed to them. I mean, again, I could totally be wrong, 100% wrong, but that's kind of how I read it, because there was one scene where he finally kind of like, okay, I've got to get to work. I've got to blaze up. It's daytime for our land, because then it cuts to the sun there, and you can still see a bit of his face in the sun itself. At the top there, you can still see a bit of the impression of him. So that's kind of how I read it. Again, I could totally be wrong.
No, I think you're more right than I am. But you know, like,
to me of like gods for sure.
Yeah, and I think the girl who's on supposedly like she's gonna become something, and she doesn't fully understand her full powers, I presume. And then because the dad has a relationship with somebody she doesn't like. I understood that properly. Yeah. So, and she's kind of the age where she's going to become something. If she's a god or royalty, I mean, at the end of royalty and god kind of coincide together. So, but then why they're doing sacrificing will be interesting. But the world itself looks extremely vast. So it will be interesting how much he will, Remender will be able to keep people's attention, because he can tell a really big tale. But is it going to be intriguing enough for you from comic to comic, month to month, whatever production hopefully will stay input, and you will keep the intention? I'm definitely going for at least 5 issues. I know that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because I always give Remender a chance, because you never know. And I was extremely intrigued the back page. I think that told me, go for it, see what you're gonna feel, because a challenge, it's kind of give you a challenge, like go, like see what you're gonna feel about it, but you're gonna have to do quite a bit of work. I know. Hopefully it won't be overly confusing though, because one thing you can give us a chance to understand, but we need some sort of information for us to actually understand where you want to take the story to. So I'm excited. I'm really excited, because it's back to having recommended my pull list.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never know what he's gonna, because he has a freedom to do it. He's been, as he said, 25 something odd years in comic industry, so he knows himself already. We know him as far, but he's experimenting as well still, and he's not afraid of it. So so hopefully it will be as intriguing as I'm putting. I don't want to put it too high though on the pedestal,
No, for sure. And I think it's a good point of like giving him a chance. I mean, first of all, the art is fucking beautiful. Like it's really just gorgeous. But I do have to keep in mind, like, giving him a bit of a chance, because on its own, like, if you didn't have his name attached to it, it read, like, as entertaining as it was, it read kind of very basic kind of story, like, oh, there's this sacrifice the kid doesn't want, or the family is kind of dealing with that because the father and the son's relationship looks a little, it's a pretty kind of basic premise. But the thing is, like you're saying, with Remender, it's where he goes from there. Like, this is the first issue is the setup, and he just sees if can I grab you with this first issue, because now we're going to get into it, you know, now that we've met the cast of characters and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you though. I'm going to stick with it for a bit for sure to see, because I'm really curious about it. And it's been a while, because this also feels like something that's going to be a longer story as opposed to the Vengeance one there that was a limited series. This one feels like it's one that's going to potentially go for a while, and it's been a while since I've been on the ground floor with a Remender book. So I'm curious to take that journey, right? So
the thing is where I like really like it is that, you know, you know, he's not afraid. He seems to be. He doesn't, you know, like if you follow, because whatever the recommended books I followed, the ones I did enjoy it, like Scumbag was the only thing I did not get it. I did not want it to know. It's now a nice, really beautiful hardcover came out, which I looked it through in one of the bookshops they had. It's a beautiful work, but I just didn't like the story.
yeah, right. Sorry, Angie Lopez, are you saying there was just an earthquake right now? Is that what you're mentioning? Holy shit, if so.
Jesus.
Sorry, Rasa, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I'm I was like, what?
I saw earthquake and my attention drew there for a minute. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah, so Rick Mendes' work on Scumbag didn't work for me at all. I don't know why.
No, me neither.
I just don't want the story. I guess the story
is boring.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see next thing for this, because whatever I've read so far was good. Yeah, Low is not something I would recommend to go for Rick Mendes' work. What is that space guy? Oh my god, why am
I loved Low.
Fear
Agent was phenomenal.
Fear Agent is the one thing.
Honestly, that Frankencastle run was a lot of fun. You know, like I thought that was a lot of fun. The Marvel was Frank Castle turning, you know, dying and coming back as kind of like Frankenstein. Everything just started shaking. Nothing too crazy though. I haven't had anything like it for a long time. Crazy, man. Wow, that's intense. I've never experienced an earthquake, so I couldn't even imagine what it's like.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm sorry, but I don't want to experience it either.
Yeah, right.
I don't really want to experience
something I could do
that.
without. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fear Agent is the first thing I would recommend for anybody to go for. It's this really book, a first baby of Rick Mendes, which is being printed in a beautiful format, but apparently it's getting reprint. It's really long out of print from that original Dark Horse print, but he's getting it reprinted now. So he's gonna have, I don't know what kind, of course, different cover and stuff like that. But it's one thing, if you can get hold of it, highly recommend. It's a space adventure.
It's also one I think you need to. And again, this goes back to maybe Remender as a writer. He seems like he's this kind of writer. Like you kind of need to read it all, because it works as one piece. Because I mean, the thing that sticks out in my mind about Fear Agent, as entertaining as the series was, the whole series was entertaining. It's those last issues that really just bring it into another realm of like, holy shit, this is what you were telling us by the end. You know what I mean? Like, I loved Low. I never finished it. I've still got a bunch of the issues. I think every time we talk Remender, I always say the same thing, that I want to read the whole thing, because I was super intrigued. His art was beautiful. But yeah, it was same with me, AFPC. It just kind of drifted off mine. But honestly, Fear Agent, that ending, everything wrapped together, I think it works so unbelievably well. You know, I thought it was pretty incredible stuff.
And I really liked it. I really liked this Deadly Class. I really loved that one.
Yeah.
And just because of the classroom, it's what really spin that's people's opinion about it straight away because of the Harry Potter, like all that bullshit. But honestly, it's like you say, and also read the full story. It just uncovers the person's personality, the main characters, and how much shit he had to go through, and how he's actually kept being who he was. Because honestly, I would, everybody could go insane to experiences he was going through, being people, his friends, best friends, killing right, left, and center, and he just blamed himself / running for his own life in the same moment, and then settles down to a point where you say uh-oh, and then like uh-oh moments, and that just rounded the story really well for me, and I was really excited about it. So if you want to go for Deadly Class, it's already available as well. It's quite bigger than Fear Agent though, much longer.
It's beefier for sure. Yeah,
more money invested in all library. If you can get hold of that, that would be great as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
But anyway,
crazy at the end of that book seeing kind of his
yeah,
bibliography now in comics. It takes up a couple of pages when you look on a couple of pages like what he's done up to this point.
yeah.
And that's just, I think that was just the Image stuff, you know, it's
Oh yeah, yeah. Just
just stuff
his
he's
own
done with
work.
Image, let alone
Yeah,
everything else that he's done, you
yeah.
know. So yeah.
And he's has like what his popularity came through. Fear Agent, he was popular, but not as popular as he went to the big two, unfortunately. And he just made his name in Marvel, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
And Kenny X Force is another one, which is he's done his work. Love it, love it, love,
Hmm.
love, love, love. Absolutely love it.
Hmm.
And then he does after that he said, okay, I am done working for your big man. I'm going doing it for myself. And then he
Yeah.
has the ability to take those artists to work with him, which is absolutely fantastic. And
Hmm.
he has the taste for good artists to work
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
long term, and they commit to him. That's the good thing. They commit to
Hmm.
him, not like every single artist he had. He's like Deadly Class, what 40 something, 52 issues of it, something like some ridiculous.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
commitment. That's to get the artist to work for you for that long.
Sure is.
And apparently Max Fiorama is fully committed to it as well, so which is great.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna wrap it up because I got to get going here right away.
Yeah.
Good to see you, everybody. Thanks very much for hanging out with us. We should be back next weekend. I think everything is good. We'll see how much I get read this week. I've got picked up a couple of day gigs this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, let me know.
But thanks very much for chatting with us. Andrew Lopez, hope you're good out there.
Yeah, my fingers crossing.
Thanks for hanging out, AFPC. Always good to see you and hear from you.
Yeah.
Chaos and Comics, Damien popped in, Paulo Costa, G, Tats Comics, everybody who stopped in, thanks very much. And we'll talk to you next week on Rasa's channel. Okay, later.
All right. Ciao.